for everybody. I think Taurus season was amazing. During Taurus season, I was definitely tapped into the energy. I purchased land, something that I've been wanting to do for the longest. Anybody knows me knows I have been talking about getting land in Arizona for years. So I definitely tapped into my Taurus energy this season, and I did just that. Not only did we do that, we traveled across the country by car to see the land, and then once we saw the land, we drove back, and it was a great, amazing adventure. Again, tapped into that Taurus energy of just buying stuff along the trip, um, sightseeing. Everything was beautiful. Eating food, so much food. It took me like 2 weeks to get my body back together, and now I'm going strictly vegan again. At least trying to. Let's start with vegetarian. Aside from the fact that I cheated yesterday at a wedding. But yeah, definitely tapped into Taurus season beautifully in a beautiful way. I'm very proud of myself and excited for everything. And so like also very intentional, not very intentional at first, but I watch Queen Cups. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Queen Cups and her YouTube page. I love her. I believe she's a Virgo moon. So I really like feel the things that she does and the things that she says. And recently she was talking about karmic, just karmic relationships and karmic instances and things like that. And if you haven't tapped into her video on YouTube, please do. She did a beautiful collective reading for the eclipse that just occurred a couple days ago, and it was so on point about our karmic events and things and us elevating to new karmic events. But coming to something that she said that stood out to me. So while we're driving across the country, I just felt like Noah's Ark, like the story of Noah's Ark. And it's so ironic that she actually starts her YouTube video speaking on Noah's Ark. And I'm just like, during this trip, I just felt like it. The story of Noah's Ark it's like, it's nice. It's like in the middle of summer. It's beautiful outside. And Noah just knew it was going to flood. And everybody's outside with with their summer wear on. Like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Like, it's mad nice outside. Like, there is no sign of any type of anything what you're talking about right now. Like, you're tripping, Noah. Like, we about to go over here and party. Ain't nobody about to help you build that ark or nothing. Like, you tripping. So, what happened? The flood happened. And when the flood happens, Noah's on the ark with two of each animal, and he's just chilling. And everybody's outside and they can't get in. And nobody else built the ark. Well, maybe other people somewhere else was on the same wavelength, just like me. And this goddess were on the same wavelength with the Noah's Ark. It's probably someone somewhere else in another culture on the same wavelength and had an ark as well. But it's just like I felt that, and that's how I felt when I was driving across the country. I felt like me buying the land, me going over here and praying over the land, me just setting my intentions on what it's going to be and telling other people what it's going to be. It felt like I was building an ark. That's what it felt like. It felt like I was building an ark and I was getting ready for something. And it was just so ironic and just like confirmation, I guess. So that's how I spend Taurus season. So if y'all want to respond to the comments how y'all spent Taurus season, that'd be great. We also was tapped into the moon. We had some Cancer energy going on, and we got some more Cancer energy coming up. So we're already in our practice of doing some lunar work and working with the moon and learning about the cycles of the moon and what's going on with that. So just keep that energy going and flowing, right? Get it together. Hold on a second. I'm gonna get it together. Watch Nika get it together. But yeah, feel free to talk about how you spent Taurus season, what it looked like for you, what was you doing, did you buy anything? Did you taste anything that usually on a normal day is like ew, but today is like ooh? Um, how was love for you? Love was pretty good for me. As far as really tapping into what I want, being okay with the fact that I can get love from somewhere else, from someone else, and really like just living that truth, practicing that truth, and things like that. So, you know, I'm not going to keep messing with you. So without further ado, let's get into Gemini season. So what I like to do is I like to talk about the zodiac energy from different points of view. We get into the Chinese zodiac. We speak a little bit on Druid. Of course, we get into Arabic zodiac. Um, I just try to touch as many things as possible. I'm always growing and learning and teaching myself new things. So we're doing that. I share with y'all every season. You know how I've expanded on my own, you know, it's a little bit better, I guess. We'll make it work. So Gemini season is associated with the third house, also associated with Mercury. Gemini energy is an air energy. This is the sign of the inventor. They can see both sides to an issue, very flexible, and can easily adapt their mood to the setting. Quick thinkers and quick witted. They're naturally curious and clever and can get bored very easily. They are seen as fickle. Their hands are usually in the right place, and their abundance of energy usually causes them to be unfocused. So that's Gemini individuals during Gemini season, since the sun is in Gemini energy. Everyone, okay, if you're already an air sign, you just feel your air going on turbo boost, okay? You feel yourself being way more fickle if you don't have power over this air energy already. You're definitely going to be all over the place. You're definitely going to be fickle. You're definitely going to be dealing with some um, level of anxiety, if you will. All of that's going to be going on for you if you're not already in tune and have some level of grounding in your air energy. Now, if you're fire, be careful because we know air makes fire bigger, and Gemini is a very big air energy. If you are a fire energy, be mindful of your temper as it may be fluctuating with the way the wind blows. You know how that goes. Be mindful. You're definitely going to be feeling way more passionate about things. Definitely going to be feeling more energetic, and then just just everybody's feeling excited. It's a nice, excited, get you going type energy. Gemini energy is. In addition to that, if you are a water sign, we know what a powerful air energy can do to water. We are creating hurricanes. Now that can go one of two ways. You can be very destructive with this water energy. You can also push aside some stubborn energy. So definitely, if there's some things that you've been holding on to, it's definitely a good time for my water signs to tap into that Uranus energy. And find out what Uranus is pushing you to do. Find out what Pluto is pushing you to transform, and definitely use this Gemini energy to do so. If you're a water energy, honestly, if you're all the energies, just definitely a time to feel the push. And in addition to that, you definitely just want to be mindful. Earth energy, if you are not in tune with your earth energy, if you are overly grounded, overly like fixed, stable, there might be a tug of war going with you in this air energy. And that's more so if you're just not in tune, if you don't have that balance of being grounded and going with the flow. If you think that you can control all the flows, then yeah, you're gonna have a tough time during the season. Things aren't gonna go your way. The wind is gonna blow things away from you until you realize that you have to go with the flow in order to keep those things going. You have to go with the flow of those things as well. So that's everything that's happening. Just be mindful of those things during this season because Gemini season applies to all of us, Ashe. Great stones to have during Gemini season. Let's get to it. A gate, most definitely, which attracts strength and protection from bad dreams. Wear it when you feel stressed or pressured. It is also a calming stone and also used for forgiveness, courage, and self-esteem. Again, assisting with blowing that wind, you know. Chalcedony is used as a calming stone to bring peace and inner reflection. It removes hostility and it encourages optimism. Appetite is another stone for this season. This is for healing, storing information, communicating, balancing energy, and teaching. As we know, Gemini is a Mercurian energy. Mercurian energy is all about communication, teaching, and learning, and things of that nature. So definitely tap into that Mercurian energy during the season too. If you notice, all of our famous Geminis, we might not always agree with them because they're so airy and they're not very grounded in their speech and the vocabulary and things like that. So a lot of us that are like grammar police like to correct them or say, oh, your vernacular is wrong or it's ignorant or it's this and it's that, instead of really listening to the message that these Geminis give us. And they are always ahead of their time. They are always ahead of their time if you really pay attention to what it is that they're trying to communicate. They just don't communicate well to earthlings. That's the gag. If you are an earthling, you're not going to communicate well with a Gemini. Another stone for this season is amber, and this helps to recharge your energy and protect you against bad moods. As again, being in this Gemini energy, the mood will also fluctuate and go up and down as we're going with the flow of things. Amber is another stone, and this helps to recharge. Oh, not amber, carnelians, which is a good energizing stone to help. Especially if you're Earth energy, if you're Earth energy and you're not in tune with your energy during the season, I say get you a carnelian for the season. Carnelians are already innately an Earth stone. In addition to that, it's going to help keep your energy up, help keep your energy positive as you're trying to fight against this wind. And hopefully it opens your mind to the fact that you're not supposed to be fighting against this, as they open up your root chakra and you get in tune with what survival is like during Gemini season. Onyx is also a good stone, again bringing that protection and that groundedness that you're going to need for my other energies, such as my mutable water, air, and fire energies that are already going with the flow. You guys will definitely be amplified, and if you do not have a balance in your innate energies already, it may be amplified for the worse. So definitely ask you guys to have onyx or tiger's eye around you, or jasper of a grounding color, which is brown or black. Have those stones around you if you do too well with going with the flow. And flint is a good element for this time as well. So Taurus is the so now we're going to get into the Kabbalah of Taurus energy. I mean, not Taurus energy, Gemini energy. I'm sorry, I'm reading like two different papers at one time. So now we're going to get into the Kabbalah of the Gemini energy, which is Sivan. Sivan is the third month of the Hebrew lunar year and is central column to the air signs. The controlling planet is Mercury. In Hebrew is Kochav, Kochav. Please correct me on my vernacular, or my pronunciation. Kachav's numerical value is Kaf, Vav, which is 26, and Kaf Bet, which is 22. The letters of Hebrew alphabet together creating the most powerful energetic combination. Again, dealing with twin energy, we're dealing with two numerical energies that we're putting together. Mercury is the planet of communication, which means it has the qualifications of an electrical cable, a telephone wire, a teacher, an advisor, a storyteller, basically anything that can transfer any information from point A to point B. The letter Zayin created the sign of Gemini, and the letter Resh created Mercury, and together these two letters create the word Raz, whose numerical value is 207, which is light. And Raz also means secret or Sod in Hebrew. Many secrets were revealed in the cosmos during the month of Sivan. Sivan is known as the month of Matan Torah, the giving of the Torah. And on the sixth day of the month, the holiday Shavuot is the cosmic day, or on which we finish the counting of the Omer, which culminates the 49 days that we begin counting on the first day of Pesach. When the awesome light of freedom was revealed on Pesach, the light was given to us with no effort from our side. That is why we count the Omer to build vessels through correcting our actions that cause the light to be concealed. On the 50th day of Pesach, we reach the level of Binah. An awesome amount of light is revealed on this day, and it is the anniversary of when people of the world received the Torah. The energy of Zir Anpin, the endless light of Bala Hamavet, Lanish. Oh, you guys got me this time. You guys got me this month. Lanish, Lanitzak. When death has swallowed up forever, which resulted in immorality. The very same energy of immorality is immortality. I'm sorry, not immorality, immortality. Okay. The very same energy of immortality is revealed each year on Shabbat. The Ari says that whoever remains awake on Shabbat, engaging in Zohar study, is promised to be total protection and safety until Rosh Hashanah. Geminis are intellectuals who have the desire to know everything and an unlimited curiosity to collect information of every kind. This is because knowledge is power, and the more information gathered today will make future choices easier to make. The Geminis need to collect information. It enables them to choose what is good and what is bad, what is right or wrong. This explains Gemini's tendency to jump from one subject to the other, and that is why, of course, they have many questions, doubts, and uncertainties. The end result is their reluctance to enter any sort of commitment. The solution for this personal obstacle is to find a teacher, someone that is able to give satisfactory answers to all questions. This will enable the Gemini to focus on one way, one God, which gives them a better chance to reach certainty. There is no greater teacher than a Gemini with a firm sense of certainty. As a communication sign, Gemini can be the perfect channel, one who can learn, understand, and teach. The ideal for a Gemini to be a channel for as many people as possible, especially for those who are lost on their path, and help others to reach their own personal certainty. The duality of Gemini is expressed in every area of life. They embody the ability to do more than one task at the same time, as well as the difficulty to commit in relationships. They have trouble with loyalty to one political party as a servant of two masters because we're dealing with that twin energy of Gemini energy. And they tend to change moods like the wind changes direction and strength. That is why Geminis can be a different person each day. So, for those of you that are like, well, my sun is here, my sun is there, this doesn't apply to me. Everything applies to you because essentially you're all the signs, okay? Those of you, I would say tap into your natal chart to learn your main energies. Okay, so I felt like I just created some confusion. I just felt it. All right, so this is how I build the blocks up. All right, you are a nucleus. Think of your physical body as a nucleus, okay? Your physical, let's say your heart, your brain, okay? Your brain is the nucleus. Your brain is the nucleus, right? So everything else is surrounding the brain, yeah? Your hands, your eyes, your nose, your mouth, all those things are surrounding your brain like electrons, protons, and neutrons, okay? So all this stuff around on you is the protons, electrons, and neutrons. All those things are controlled by your planetary placement. It's like an electromagnetic field that was situated above while you were coming through below, and it had an electromagnetic influence on yourself, on your, on all this that's surrounding your brain. So when you get into your planetary placements, what you're getting into is electromagnetic field on all of this stuff that is surrounding your brain. And that affects how you interact with other people's electromagnetic fields, whether you repulse or attract. And you may not always repulse and attract in all areas, like myself. I'll give you an example. I have my top 4 placements is in Virgo. I'm a Virgo, Sun, Moon, Mercury, and Venus, all Virgo, right? My Mars is in Gemini. So my aggression, what turns me on, what triggers me, my motivation, my ambition, all that is rooted in Gemini energy. But my Mercury is still in Virgo. How I communicate, how I teach, how I learn things is still very grounded. It's not Gemini energy. So as a result, people who have communications in like air signs maybe probably irritate me. I can't take it when people talk in circles. I like grounded conversation. Granted, my Mars is in Gemini. However, because your Mercury may be in Gemini, or, some sort of, maybe your Palace is in Gemini, which is another, and not Palace, Juno, which is another energy for wisdom and intellect and things. And that'll trigger me because my Mercury is in Virgo. I like grounded conversation. I pay attention to details in conversation. My temperament is stable in conversations, teaching and learning. I can't do all the jumble. I can't do that. It irritates me. That's too much chaos in my space. I don't like chaos in my space. So while we may get along in the sense that we like to go places and do things and have a bunch of activities and stuff that we like to do together, you might repulse me in conversation. Or you might intrigue me in conversation if it's in a certain kind of house. Like, that's how it's situated. And that's why it's so infinite. Like, there's no end to this. I can get into your top 9 energies, but then I can also get into your nebulas. I can get into your nodes and your ascendants and where certain stars and suns were as well. Like, you're such an infinite being. It's so beautiful. It's just, the goal is just to know as much as possible, right? So for those of you that are like, well, my sun is here, my sun is there, this doesn't apply to me. No, it does apply to you, and that is how. Tap into your natal chart. So we have just went over the Kabbalah. We have went over the crystals and things. Now we're going to get into more talking of the Gemini sun, and then we're going to get into the actual planetary forecast. All right, guys. So again, coming back, Gemini season this year started on May 20th. It fluctuates between the 19th and the 21st, but this year was on the 20th. We entered Gemini in the 10th house. So Gemini energy usually rules over the 3rd house, which is the house of communication. Much communication goes on between loved ones. This is written, verbal, and also consciously, for those of you guys who speak telepathically. The 3rd house reminds us that it's okay to use our conscious skills in addition to our reflective intelligence. Also a time of creativity, interests, habits, and journeys. Rising. 2 of my favorites, Amber and Carnelian. Yes. So if you have a lot of earth energy, you definitely want to tap into your air energy. You definitely want to tap into some earth stones this season. Mercury. Mercury is the planet of information and technology. It's also known as the planetary messenger. It rules over self-expression, communication, connection, and as well as intellect. Again, coming back to stones that are associated with the planet Mercury. Now we're talking about Mercury. Red agate, which is the stone of consciousness, attracts wisdom and intelligence, and it powers up to the sacral chakra, which is especially good because my Mercurians, we all hold things in our gut. I'm a Mercurian as well. I'm the grounded Mercurian. I love my Geminis though because I understand them. It's certain Gemini placements, like I told y'all before, it just makes my soul itch. But I love my Geminis. But yeah, you definitely want to tap into this red agate energy. For those of you who do not have Gemini placements, I would definitely use red agate more so that you could tap into the energy that the sun is giving off. I would definitely have that on myself. I would definitely have that on my altar. But those of us who are Mercurians, we definitely hold our energy in our gut, that nervousness energy, that anxiety. And a lot of that is when you have Gemini at an imbalance, okay? When Gemini is at an imbalance, that's when you do wake up feeling anxious and too nervous. And we hold that in our stomach. So red agate is a good stone. Emerald, which is the stone of prosperity and richness, coming into that multiple stream of income, multiple stream of businesses and knowledge and thing energy that Gemini energy does indeed bring. Pyrite, which is a grounding stone, is also good for your root chakra, and it protects your aura from energy attacks, and it cleanses and purifies the spirit. And not ironically, I'm so like subconscious about the things I do. I've definitely been rocking my pyrite since Gemini season started. I've just been like, I saw it on my altar. It's always sitting on my skull head. I keep my crowns and things sitting there. And I'm like, ooh, yeah, the pyrite, I'm feeling it. That's what we doing. And just coming into my notes like, yeah, girl, you on cue. You didn't read that you was on cue, but you were on cue. The azurite. which is good for communication with angels or spirits. Tapping into that Mercurian energy right now if you like. This is also good for astral traveling and helps with the third eye and your throat chakra, which is all levels of communication. Then we also have turquoise, which is Buddha consciousness. It gives awareness of reality, helps you to find your purpose in life, attracts truth and fate, find a way to positively seek your destiny. So shouts to those who have just purchased my turquoise jewelry. I do have a couple more turquoise pieces left. I believe I have a ring and something else if anybody's interested. Hematite, which is a stone of mankind, courage, strength, and willpower, new ideas, successful opportunities, prosperity, and ambition. Another piece that I have, in fact, I'll be going live with my jewelry later so that you guys can see what it is that I have that's going to assist you guys with these happenings. Um, ooh, I dropped my purse. Chalcedony. Chalcedony is a good meditation stone. It's good for manifestation, attaining calmness, and it also brings relaxing energy that relieves your nerves and puts you in a deep sleep. For those of you who are dealing with the anxiety and the anxiousness and everything else like that. Blue lace agate, it balances thinking, improves concentration, and it also organizes your thoughts, which are good for this time for those of you who are already air signs and feel yourself being wrapped up into that air or water or fire and you're lacking that grounding energy. If you feel yourself being wrapped up into that, this is definitely the stone to bring that balance and things like that for you. We also have fluorite. I have some pieces with fluorite as well. This is good for peace and harmony. It helps to release stress and anxiety. It's also a very good energy vacuum cleaner. So if you need to do some energizing cleansing, I highly suggest getting a fluorite. Fluorites with points, fluorite pyramids, create a grid, and it's going. And then once you do that, take those stones outside and then sage them. Rinse and repeat. Coming back to our Gemini energy, those were all the stones for Mercury. For those of you that want to tap into that Mercurian energy. Now for those of you who are like, I want to do things on Wednesdays because Mercury and Wednesdays, that's our day of communication, right? Wednesdays is good for communication, also good for traveling and studying. And this is the best day to pray to Mercury. It's the best day to tap into that Mercurian energy. My laptop is just like, I don't care what you try to do. I'm being slow today. And that's okay. Lavender is a good plant or herb for this time. This is used to treat anxiety. Again, for those of you that are super tapped into this Gemini energy, just a little too much. It's also good for fungal infections, hair loss, depression, high blood pressure, nausea, menstrual pain, and eczema. For those of you that are experiencing allergic reactions to the outdoors right now, this one's for you. Because that's what eczema is. It's an allergic reaction for those of you who didn't know. Using it as a tea can help with digestive issues for those of you who are feeling things in your gut. It's used to help relieve pain from headaches, sprains, toothaches, and sores. And that's lavender does a lot. Aventurine is a good stone for Wednesday. This is great for creativity, imagination, calming yourself, prosperity, career success. Mica is a good element for this time. This is good for peace, insomnia. It's good for your digestive system. Again, coming back to that gut health. It's also good for blood sugar. It aids with dehydration, concentration, memory, stamina, and strength. Lemongrass is also a good plant during this time. You drink it as a tea and it helps with relieving anxiety. It lowers cholesterol, prevention against infections. Chewing on lemongrass stalks help with health, pain relief, boosting red blood cells, and it also assists with bloating. Peppermint is also a good herb. This helps with digestion, muscle relaxing, pain reliever, stress. It helps with sinuses, it assists with sleeping, antibacterial, helps curb appetite for those of you who are still falling victim to that Taurus energy, eating everything. I know I did. I was going in. My stomach is like, yeah, it's Gemini season. You better get right. I started taking my gut health things, and yeah, it's a whole thing. And it also helps with, I think that says phlegm. I wrote it right in the corner. But that's Wednesday for you guys. We talked about Gemini season being the sign of the inventor. It helps one to see both sides or multiple perspectives to things. In addition to that, it's a very flexible energy and it can easily adapt to anything. Their mood is their mood wait, and can easily adapt their mood to any setting. That's what I meant. They're quick thinkers and quick-witted, naturally curious, clever, and can get bored pretty easily. And they're also seen as fickle, but their heart is usually in the right place. Their abundance of energy causes them to be unfocused. I know I could be unfocused. My conversations are unfocused sometimes. Like, and it's not it's not even unfocused for me because there's logic to everything that I say. I think of a building and a room, and I'm telling you a story in one room, but then there's a window, and I have to explain that window for you to understand the room. And then I need to explain this door over here so you can understand the room. Like, that's how I think. Like, the side stories explain the whole thing. Just gotta sit back and have patience and listen. Um, Twins are associated with Geminis, and that's the energy that helps you think from different point of views. And also, may not feel like you don't like to be alone or to do things alone. Definitely tap into that energy, as I had to learn how to ground that part of my Gemini energy because again, my Mars is in Gemini, so while I love to do multiple tasks and I'm always juggling multiple tasks, I don't like to do things alone. And I had to learn how to do things alone to get things done. And then once I started doing that, now I'm almost never alone, which is awesome because that's what I wanted to begin with. um, we are going from a fixed earth sign, which is that Taurus energy, to Gemini's light and Aries sign. So for those of you who are slow to move, like those of you who are fixed energies and you're in element, um, might be a little bit difficult for you. You might have felt yourself getting sad, angry, or irritable towards the end of Taurus season. Things started flipping for you a little bit. I know my son's father is a Leo. He was in a car accident. It wasn't a bad accident, but his car is messed up. And so that's how he ended Taurus season. Um, just like little things like that. That wasn't a little thing, but things like that occur. If it's to get you ready, like boom, is you ready for this air energy? Because you about to really go with the flow. Are you ready for this flow? And for some people, it was a smack in the face. Some people was a slight tap on the hand. But for those of you who are already tapped in, I think a lot of you guys already tapped in. You guys already seen it coming. Of me and a lot of my sisters were like, my stomach's starting to hurt. It's time to start changing this diet and get my life right. We felt it before it was coming. Now, maybe a year or so ago, before we were in tune, we probably would have kept doing what we were doing and ignoring it. And Gemini season would have hit us with a blow. Okay. That's how that works when you're not in tune. When you're not in tune, things is gonna smack you in your face and it's gonna feel like, why? And it's not always just for the bad. Sometimes, a lot of times it's for the good, but it just looks like something bad happened. You know, sometimes it is for the good. Like, I took that away from you because you was about to track some bullshit with it, or you was about to go do some goofy stuff with it. Like, you're still not listening. And we'll get into Uranus in a minute because that's definitely that energy coming to the forefront with that. Um, but during this time, you may feel easily bored. For those of you who have not been listening to your goals, your dreams, your aspirations, the things you need to do, this season is definitely going to push you to do that. And so it's definitely a good time to listen to yourself, listen to, the things that you keep telling yourself that you've been wanting to do. This is the time to do that. Let me tap in because for some reason Facebook is like really slow for me. So if you guys are commenting on Facebook, or just commenting anywhere, I can't see it. I'm tapping in from StreamYard. And I don't know, my laptop, just whatever. It is what it is though. Trying to get in the way of my Mercury energy internet, but it's okay, you won't win. Because I'm unique among that. Say that. But yeah. So for those of you who are not tapped into, yourselves and in tune with yourselves, your energy is going to be pissed at you. I like to use personal examples. I like to use examples that I see on the internet, like a post of someone saying, "Hey, this job ain't for me." Like, yes, this job never was for you, but because this Gemini sun is out, yeah, you're about to be super bored. You're about to be super irritated. Those employees, those co-workers, your boss is about to get on your freaking nerves. Why? Because you haven't tapped into your energy. One thing that I could say about our famous Mercurians, and my top three Mercurians are, of course, Kanye West, Trump, and Azalea Banks. Those are my three favorites. Why? Because they are so outlandish. Everything they say triggers you guys because they be so far ahead of time. They're so far ahead of time that everything they say and do triggers you guys. You guys get so upset. And I'm not saying everybody, I'm saying those who are not tapped in. Oh my God, why is she doing that? Why is she saying that? She's evil. I freaking love Azalea Banks. I freaking love Kanye because he told us we was gods before we was out here tapping into our God and goddess energy. Ashe. He was the one telling us to boycott these people, places, and things before we even got the before who was it? Snoop Dogg and Jada Pinkett Smith started the hashtag boycott Oscar so white, blah blah blah. Years before they did that, he took the mic away from Taylor Swift and told y'all. He may not have told y'all in the vernacular y'all wanted to hear, but that Gemini energy do what it want. It ain't about what you want to hear. It's about what's going to come out. And it came out the way it had to come out. Same thing with Trump. When Trump became president, he was already, you had to really listen to the things he was saying. First of all, I'm tribal. Okay? Let's get that. I'm very tribal and I respect those who are also tribal. I respect it. I have had a sit down with men that claimed Jewish, that claimed Irish, that claimed Scottish, whatever, what have you, Russian, whatever. I have had sit down with men and women of these walks of life and talked about like their belief and how their tribe moves. A lot of them are exiled from their tribe because they think different. They don't really agree with the things that their tribe do. But having some real like heart to heart talks, and I can respect people who say, "Hey, I want my tribe to stay my tribe. Like I want my lineage to stay the way it looks, the way it feels, the energy." And I respect that because I'm the same way. I can sit down and shake a hand with that person and eat lunch and have a conversation about that. That's being tapped in. With that being said, I don't really care about the stuff that like people got so triggered about what came out of Trump's mouth because it was so fast forward. It's back to that tribal energy that us as aboriginals are trying to get back to. So how can you get upset at an individual that's doing that for, that's implementing what it is that we're trying to teach our village to do? You know what I'm saying? I can't get upset because now I want to learn how to do my taxes the way he do his. I couldn't get upset because he was saying things about Hollywood and the way the White House was being operated in alliance with Hollywood. And now we're finally opening our eyes to what was going on. But he had already said it. He was saying it in his campaign. Before that's why my grandmother voted for him. She pulled up on me like, yeah, he's doing X, Y, Z and saying X, Y, Z about child trafficking and this and that and the third. Like my grandma was already on it. You feel me? My grandma was a Libra. She was already with it. She's already on the scales. Feel me? So like those are my top three Geminis because they've always been so mentally fast forward. Like Kanye saying slavery was a choice that triggered us because to us it was like it wasn't a choice at the end. But now, fast forward in this space and place, we're learning that we were never slaves. We were captives of war. It's a motherfucking difference. And because of that, certain paperwork is in place that keeps us out of the talks in this country because we are captives of war. The knowledge is coming forth. So if we were captives of war, yeah, slavery was a choice. You could have fought back. It wasn't no slavery. It was war. It is war. So, they just, I fucking love my Geminis, y'all. I get real passionate about them. I love them. But yeah, come back, Nika. So we may feel good to move forward with projects, coming back to feeling easily bored or desire to shake things up. You might quit your job. You might learn that this business venture that you were in ain't for you, and you're going to tap into something that is for you. You may have evolved from what you first started last year, and it's okay to evolve. It's okay once you realize that you don't need those tools. Like Once upon a time when I was doing my planetary forecast and stuff, I was using my tarot cards for everything. I was using my tarot cards for everything. I don't need my tarot cards no more, baby. I use my tarot cards and my natal readings for individuals because that's what they need. They need that tangible, they need that medium. But I don't need it. I don't need it no more. I could walk up to somebody and say, hey, I can feel your energy and this, and this, and this. And I could be just as on point as if I pulled a card and said the same thing. It's okay. It's okay to get to that point. It's okay to evolve. It's okay to say, you know what? I tried to be spiritual. I tried to be this kind of teacher. Like maybe I wanted to get into herbs and things like that. Like me personally, I want a garden. I want a garden so bad, but my thumbs ain't as green as I want them to be. And at one point in time, the garden and the herbs and the planting thing, that was on the forefront of my business venture. But once I realized that I'm still a student in that, I'm not where I need to be. I need to put that on the back and be a student in that and put what needs to go on the front in the front. And then I see some people, recently coming into the knowledge that having multiple jobs at one time is exhausting and extenuating and a horrible role strain. And they're really tapped into the Gemini energy, feeling that anxiety and stuff like that. And they realize that I just need one business venture with many branches on it. Like Less Nobodies is media entertainment. With that one tree, I can have as many branches and roots as I want. I'm doing events. I got jewelry. I got this with you guys. I got da. But it's still that one thing. You know what I'm saying? It's still coming back to Less Nobodies. People are coming into those kind of realizations. And those are the kind of realizations you're going to come into because the things that you have been doing and suppressing about yourself and convincing yourself, oh, this is just a funk. Oh, this is just a whatever. It's okay. It's going to pass because you feel in your mind, this is what spirituality should look like. This is what consciousness should look like. This is what entrepreneurship should look like. This is what being a teacher should look like. Or this is what getting back into the workforce should look like. This is what school should look like. You've convinced yourself these were the things that should look. But I'm telling you, baby, this Gemini season, your spirit is going to be like, bitch, no, this is not what we doing. This is not what we do. And it's just going to get louder and louder and louder until you cave in. Or you can keep ignoring yourself. But I'm going to tell you, Gemini season is going to put you in hell. You're going to be in hell this season if you decide not to listen to your energy. You're going to be in hell. It's just how it goes. Because if you want to get into the Gemini constellation about two twins, Castor and Pollux. These are two twins that did everything together. It depends on who tells the story. Some people tell the story and say, these two guys, they were valiant warriors, just going place to place, defeating people and fucking shit up. And they were great horsemen, just riding on horses, fucking shit up. It was amazing. But then some people say, yo, these two were a menace. They would go around fucking shit up. They would just beat up people for no reason, just challenging people. It was weird. I ain't like that. It depends on who tells the story. But at the end of the day, they were brothers, and they were the daughters of, I believe, the Queen of Sparta. But their father one of them was a mortal. I'll tell you guys that in a minute. One of them was a mortal, and he died. And the other one was an immortal. His father was Zeus. So when the mortal died, the mortal one was like, yo, dad, like, I want to go be with my brother. I don't want to be alone down here. This shit whack. So they both went up to the sky. So depending on who tells the story, this constellation is violence. This constellation is violent death, violent interactions, just chaos, just going around, just challenging. So, yeah, you're going to go through hell if you don't listen to your spirit. You're going to go through hell if you don't go with the flow, because that's just what this constellation is. It's just what it is. And we'll get into that more on the Arabic standpoint once I get into the actual planetary forecast. Coming back into the fact that Gemini energy is a mutable energy, just as Sagittarius energy, Virgo energy, and Pisces energy. These energies are highly flexible and hate to get stuck in a situation. So all my fixed energies, please, I would just say, like, look at your other placements in your natal chart, and that'll help you get aligned. If your sun energy is fixed, just utilize your other energies, and it'll help you with your fixed energies. It'll help carry you. Under mutable energy, one, develop a new talent or skill that's going to occur this season. Get ready. 2, open up your communication skills, learning to listen before you speak, learning to listen without intentions of speaking. When I'm speaking to people, I could tell they're holding on to a word in their mind. They're holding on to a sentence. They're not even listening to me. They're holding on to their response. They're just building up a response in their head. I can tell when people do that, and that turns me off in a conversation because I really be listening to people, and I want that in return. 3, start writing. Great communication time. I keep saying ironic, but I be so aligned. Getting my son's journals, and we're going to start journaling every day. And that was a talk that I started to having with you guys last year during Taurus season when me and my son started to get into U.S. history. A lot of our journals when we came here are in Arabic because, like I said, we were not slaves. They didn't take slaves. We were at war in Spain. The Moors had ruled Spain for centuries, and we were being ran out of Spain. And as a result of that, because we were already travelers all over the world, we were ruling Spain for centuries. So we were running shit for centuries. I hope that's digging in your mind. We was on boats and sailing for centuries. A century is 100 years. Centuries with an S, multitude of them, many. So we were already out here in the world. We were already mingling over here and creating tribes and villages and things like that. We were already in the Caribbean and South America. We was already out here. So it wasn't too much. It was more so intentionally mixing of tribes, of beings. It was an intentional mixture so that we couldn't communicate, so that we couldn't have like that unity and things. It was intentional confusion. It was mental. They were messing with our minds because our mind was our strength. So you mess with our mind, you make us fall. And that's how we continue to stay fallen. Our minds are messed up. But no, we didn't come here on boats as slaves. Came here as people that were captured in war. We was fly as fuck, dripping in gold, running shit. Don't forget that. All that to say, when we came over here, we was writing in Arabic. And that's what our journals were written in Arabic. So as me and my sons got into this, we have realized a couple things. One, it's time for us to learn Arabic. And my son also wants to learn Latin. I'm really stoked about that. So that's what we're doing now, y'all. And also, we need to start journaling. Because if we don't journal our experiences, if you don't keep your diaries and stuff like that, we're allowing our story to be told by other people. We're allowing them to continue to tell our story. And look at how they're telling it. Like, I'm not a big fan of Black Lives Matter. Kamala Harris doesn't speak for me. These celebrities on these platforms don't speak for me in my mindset. A lot of these people that are going viral on these social media sites, they don't speak for me. So yes, publish your journals, publish your diaries, put them out there because they're important. They're important stories for our people. Even the parts that you're embarrassed about, you're afraid about, do that shadow work. Put that shadow work in your journals and publish that shit. Because you have no idea who needs to read that, where they need to read it at in their life. Either in this century or the next, you don't know. So put it out there. Put it out there. Number 4, embrace variety. For all of those that are like, I like one thing and one thing only, and I got a one-track mind, that's not what we fitting to do. Broaden your horizons. My son's phone be going in. That's my song now. Read. It's a great time of reading. Tap into this Mercurian energy of reading and learning. Be students for a minute. You know, we're always putting ourselves on, especially us that are teachers. You know, myself included. I'm a teacher. Coming back to Queen Cups, when she did the collective reading, she was talking about how she's so used to becoming a teacher, she had to be humbled real quick because we forgot that we got to be students sometimes too. So it's a time to read. It's okay to read somebody else's perspective, experience, things like that. It's essential. Also, make new acquaintances. Meet new people. We out here. It's okay. You don't always have to be the smartest person in the room. You don't always have to be the most talented person in the room. I had to learn not the hard way. I had to learn humility because I enjoy being the big one in the room. I'm a Leo ascendant. I got to be the big one in the room. Otherwise, why the fuck am I here? You know? I had to like humble myself and say, yo, it's pretty dope to be the small person in the room, to be the fly in the room, because I absorb so much and learn so much, so that when I go into the other room and I'm big, I'm a lot bigger. It's all works. But yeah, read, learn. And be more flexible. Be more flexible during this time. My fixed energies, come out your shell. It's okay. Um, Coming back to the stones, agate, which is a calming stone, strength helps with strength, stress, forgiveness, and self-esteem. Chalcedony, which is a great calming stone, and it brings inner peace. Apatite, which is a healing stone, and it's great for storing info. Amber, which is a great stone for recharging. Tiger's eye, which helps with fear, anxiety. It helps aid in harmony, balance, decision making, as well as taking action. Carnelian, which is the stone of motivation, endurance, leadership, and courage. Um, there we go. Citron, which is a merchant stone, is good for education and business. Um, Gray is a good color for this time. This is a color which is cool, neutral. It's a balanced color. It's associated with formal, conservative, sophisticated. Also with dullness or boredness, which is what you may feel if you're not, tapped in. Light green, which is the color of life, renewal, nature, energy, growth, harmony, safety, fertility, environment, money, finances, baking, ambition. Also, if you are at an imbalance, it could be also a color of greed, jealousy, and it's also a good color for your eyes, enhancing your eyes. Fun fact. Um, there we go. Silver is also a good color. This is like a more upscale. You got gray and then you got silver. Silver is more of industrial, sleek, high tech, modern, sophisticated, elegant. It draws negative energy from the body. It's also a good metal when we get to the actual metal silver of emotions. It's a metal of the psychic mind, also of love, healing, and patience. I use a lot of silver in my jewelry. I also use a lot of aluminum, which has the same properties as silver, pretty much as far as it being good for emotions in the psychic mind. The number 5 is a good number for this season. This is the number of humanity and life. It's the number of protection, love, reproduction, regeneration, strength, intelligence, freedom, communication, curiosity, adventure, light, and health. So 5 is the number for the season. And when you get into tarot cards, um, when you get to tarot cards, the Magician card is the card for the season. This is about getting plans and all aspects of life organized. The Lover's card is also a card for the season, which is all about two coming together, as well as the Knight of Swords are the tarot cards during this season. So that's what we have for the overall season. Now I'm going to get into the Metu Netter book, which is what I usually do. And yeah, I'm gonna get into the book about what to do now during the season. I should have had the page already, but it is what it is, child. All right, we all about Sebek during the season, and let's get into the time and place for everything, right? Right now we're dealing with we're in May, June, right? Yeah, we're in May, June. So May 5th to June 21st. We're dealing with the southeast. Prayer time is around 9 a.m. to noon. And this is from May 5th to June 21st. We're dealing with Haru. And just to give you insight on Haru, this is a space where you have now arrived at the transitional point, the crossroad. You must firmly keep in mind your readiness to run your project and not let it run you. The work of the lower spheres must keep to the specifications of the spheres above. So you got to keep your duality intact. It is so easy because of the emotional and sensual pressures to abandon the soundest principles and best laid plans. Use your will. Be the king of your realm. That's again coming back into that energy where like you really have to listen to yourself. You really have to listen to your spirit. Because if not, you're going to be in hell. I'm telling you. That's coming back into that. You have to be grounded. Again, coming back to like you guys should have like brown and black stones during the season and all those things like that. Yeah, basically reiterating what I said. So, coming back into the time and place for all things, the southeast around 9 a.m. to noon, May 5th to June 21st, we're dealing with Haru. And at this time, the earth is warming up and your animal spirit is absorbing the heat and is therefore drying out. That's your lower self, is drying out. And your moderate fire, which is your hot, dry energy, is now in activity. This is the most auspicious time to carry out tasks that require vitality, which nourishes the ability to rise above, to raise truth above our emotional and sensual conditionings. It's coming back to like broadening your horizons. There's got to be a better way to do this. Okay, it comes back to broadening your horizons, opening up your point of view as we tap into the Gemini energy. Reading, because that is another way of broadening our horizons, right? It is the best time to impose your will upon your life force, which is the God in you, as the reduction of your moisture has undermined your offset and Heru faculties. Power breathing, aerobics, remedies for the cardiovascular system, etc., are in harmony with this point in your biorhythm. So for those of you that are saying, hey, it's a good time to, start changing your diet, change the way you're eating. Those of you who are saying, okay, we're going to stop eating certain kind of foods now and doing certain things. The bitter flavor will help your fire to rise and maintain itself. Sweets will dissipate your vitality and give power to water, which is emotions. So be mindful with sweets at this time. And the above formula can be used to analyze a subject. Oh, wait, hold on. No. That's not what I want to read. I want to read what makes this work. In order to fully benefit from the insight that I just gave you into the cycles of provided, it is imperative to go to bed at about 10 p.m. and wake up just before sunrise. You must average about 8 hours of sleep and awaken naturally. Yeah, I do 8 hours because I usually go to sleep like around 12-ish, 1 o'clock, and I wake up a little bit after 9. That's just what my body does. That's regular for me. And most of the events I go to, they don't end until about like 1, 2 o'clock anyway. When the life force, which is Ra, is fully regenerated. So I also, ironically, me and my partner were just talking about waking up to alarms. Like, I'm so grateful that I don't have to wake up to an alarm. Like, this is amazing. But when the life force Ra is fully regenerated, and you can't do that off of an alarm. That's why a lot of people, when they wake up with alarms, you can't wake up. You're not hearing it. Just mad stuff. And it's because you're not letting your body do what it's supposed to do. And it usually like sets you off for the rest of the day, right? Like you're kind of off. A study of the lives of the world's top executives showed that most of them observe pretty much this pattern of sleeping and awakening. You must also eat a good breakfast after your morning meditation and aerobics. So you get up in the morning, you meditate, and you exercise, and then you eat. I haven't eaten yet. I usually don't eat until about like, the latest I have eaten was like 4, 5, 6 o'clock. And it's never like I'm intentionally telling myself like, no, you're not eating. It's just like, I don't want to. My body, I listen to my body. If I don't want to eat yet, I don't want to eat yet. And yes, there are times where like I'll get hangry and stuff like that. But if my body don't want to eat yet, I don't want to eat yet. And my body will just go past that point. And now, gratefully, I have an awesome partner that recognizes when I'm getting hangry and he's okay with it because he's on the same, type time with the eating and stuff like that. And he gets hangry too. So it's like a dual, we work with each other. It works. Because once upon a time, like being around other people that didn't understand. And at one point in time, I didn't understand either. Like, what's going on? But I couldn't force myself to eat because I would just make it worse for me. It would make my energy worse because I wasn't ready to eat despite what I was going on. And I just watched a video that was speaking on doing that. And actually, at that point, when you are hangry, that's when your liver is releasing the fat or whatever, and you're starting to burn that part. But doing that is actually a process that helps you live longer, and it's actually a really good cleansing process. And that's, I don't know what word to use, but it completely goes against everything that I was taught, as far as like, you don't want to do that because then your body doesn't trust you, and because it feels like you're going to starve it out, and it holds on food and you gain weight. Da, da, da. I read that before many times, and that's what we used to make me feel self-conscious about not eating, and sometimes forcing myself to eat when I wasn't hungry and stuff like that. I don't know. It's a whole thing. It's really like unlearning everything you learned, honestly. But yeah, your main meal should come about 2 p.m., which is at the Mercury Sebek area, and Mercury controls your gut, your small intestines, and your digestion. In case you didn't know that, for all of my Mercurians out there that deal with a lot of stomach issues, it's because you're not in tune with your Mercurian energy, and Mercury rules over your stomach. So you want to tap into that. Listen to your stomach. Um, it is important to get your full quota of calories, which is mayat, success, hot and moist. Caloric sustenance is fuel. To preserve the equilibrium of your life force, you must also avoid sleeping during the day unless you're sick, exercising after sunset, avoid concentrated sweets in the morning or bitters at night, avoid excessive fasting, excessive sexual activity, and be moderate in all things. The simple rule of living in harmony with the and annual cycles of your body is the master key for success. The infinity symbol above the head of the magician card of the tarot is in reality 2 superimposed sine curves, which represents a flux of cycles. The 4 magical weapons that the magician works with in this card and in European magic are the 4 modes of life force. This is why in the older and better tarot, he said older and better tarot cards, the magician is shown juggling these 4 symbols, keeping them in equilibrium. The picture states that because he observes the laws of the cycles, he is able to keep the 4 modes of his life force, which is hot and dry, fire, cold and moist, water, air, earth, you get it, in equilibrium. Therefore, he is successful at the magic, the realization of what he wills, primarily through the agency of his life force. So when you keep a balance of the things that you're supposed to do throughout the day, because time has a thing too, which is why I need to get back into my planetary forecast. But I want to take a moment, pause, and do some reading first, because I have learned about the clocks during out the day, and I want to keep us aligned in that way of the clocks and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a certain way you do things on a daily basis. But let's get into Sebek. We're still in our Metanetter book and things like that. So Sebek in a comedic sense is Anpu, and Canaanites is Raphael, and the Kabbalah is Had, Yoruba is Elegba, Eshu, and then Hindu Kush is Matanji. And we're dealing with the 8th sphere. When we deal with the 8th sphere, we are dealing with, let's go back. I love this book. This is like my Bible. It'd be easier if I had just brought my notebook, but I didn't. The 8th sphere is what man thinks he can achieve when we're dealing with the 5 principles of growing man. The 8th sphere of the tree of life is the exact opposite of the 7th. While the latter coordinates parts to build wholes, the 8th sphere separates wholes into their parts. To illustrate, the 7th sphere takes the different components of language, which is nouns, verbs, adjectives, and assembles them into meaningful units, such as sentences, paragraphs, stories. Oppositely, the 8th sphere will focus on each component, the nouns, the verbs, etc., in isolation from each other, and the whole in order to study some aspect of them, definition, part of speech, etc. While the seventh sphere deals with how each component works with others to create a workable, meaningful whole, the eighth sphere deals with the specific identifying characteristic of each member of a species. These two faculties make very important contributions to the nature of society. The seventh sphere is not only responsible for people's ability to work harmoniously, it recognizes the fact that the creation of complex wholes cannot be achieved without the element of differences between the parts. You can't have a painting with one type of shape and one color, or a musical composition with one type of tone and one type of rhythm. In the same way, the world requires the vast diversity of ethnic and cultural elements in order to achieve prosperity. On the other hand, the eighth sphere focuses on external and superficial differences between people, race, ethnic, age, etc., and things, and segregates them accordingly. Although there is a legitimate function for the segregative thinking of the eighth sphere, we will see that due to the lack of input in people's thinking from the higher faculties, which is sphere 6 to 0, the eighth sphere is the chief architect of man's social ills. So, because man lacks the ability to tap into the seventh sphere, the eighth sphere has become a bit of a bad mindset. Not bad mindset because it's essential. It's just we misuse it. We misuse the eighth sphere. So this is the source of our ill until we get it right. We're in the process of getting it right, though. I feel it. But that's the eighth sphere. Again, coming back to the planet Mercury, which we went over already, and Wednesday. The colors for this season are saffron and red and black, which deal with Elegua. Red being the color of passion and black being the color of grounding and protection. The number 3, which is our number of creativity, creation, all that fun stuff. And the gems during this time are emerald. This as far as herbs go, to have in your bath are Abre Camino, Arasa con todo, oregano, lavender, and larkspur. Oils during this time are lavender and lily of the valley. Incense during this time are lavender and lily of the valley. As far as our mantras or our words of power during this time, if you were trying to get into spiritual aspect is Aing, which is AING, Aing. So when you're meditating and things like that, you want to go Aing. And if you want to tap into the planetary energy, tap into Mercury energy on a Wednesday, is Ong, Brong, Bring, Brong. So AUNG, BRANG, BRING, and BRAUNG. So Brong, Bring, Brong. And that's the mantra during that time. This is like the second time I did that before. I don't know. I usually get self-conscious in my head like I'm gonna skip that part. But I didn't feel that this time. That's fun. So those are the mantras during this time. Personality portfolio through its action of the kabit, which is the animal spirit. The cool and dry energy of Mercury makes the personality, which is sphere 9. Emotional traits during this time are sharp and witty, fond of travel, critical in a positive way, able to separate issues based on externals, loquacious, diplomatic, cold a little bit with that wittiness and that sharpness. Yeah, because I think that's a lot of what triggers people when they listen to Geminis. It's that cold speech. Logical minded, highly dependent on information, communicative, negatively critical, busybody, opinionated, inconstant in belief, pretending to know yet ignorant, mischief maker, gossiper, scheming, cunning, argumentative, just all the fun stuff. Cunning, scheming, proud, sly, lying, and selfish. And that's if you're not like in alignment. Mental traits during this time: segregative thinking, labeling, defining, the verbal clothing of the verbal clothing of what is known, felt, and perceived, imitation. Also, quick-witted people, social correspondences are quick-witted people, good learners from mere observation, even without a teacher. Career functions of Gemini energies are intellectuals, scholars, students, teachers, ambassadors, astrologers, mathematicians, clerks, technicians, relatively inexperienced lawyers, preachers, teachers, traders, young men, office workers, printers, schemers, schemes, thieves, journalists, good speakers, diplomats, politicians, specialists. So this is definitely the time of the scammer. Be careful with answering your phone. Spiritual functions, however pragmatic and necessary for the manipulation of physical phenomenon, the mastery of definitions, names, and descriptions, the fundamental elements of our education does not constitute knowledge, reality. Proceeding, proceeding with awareness of this limitation will bring us good fortune. Proceeding without awareness of this limitation is misfortune. We speak glibly of the person coming into being in the third month of gestation, the life arising out of the chance coming together of non-living particles, in the same breath that we give better odds to a random assortment of 800,000 words and definitions on index cards being tossed in the air and falling in alphabetical order. And with pride, we call ourselves scientists. And that was fun. Um, Key phrases during this time: disunion due to segregative thinking through the use of clever tactics, clever words. Um, there we go. Paying attention to detail, pride in one's education, logical ability, verbal ability, litigations, arguments, having the facts, data, being misinformed. Biological correspondence to this time for those of you that are like, why is my body like this? Mercury governs the functions of the motor and sensory nerves. Pathologically, nervous irritability, asthma, bronchitis, stertorous breathing, neuralgia, speech impediments are on the forefront during this time. Um, Comedic therapeutics during this time are nervine and emollient. In addition to that, Chinese medicine during this time is focused on the lung and large intestine system, as well as wind and disease patterns. So that's what I have for you guys for the Gemini sun and all that fun stuff. Give me 2 seconds. Well, give me 60 seconds to get myself together. And we're really going to talk about where the planets are with nebulas. We have some meteor showers that are coming to a close. We have some that are starting up. We just got through a eclipse and we will be experiencing another. And so yeah, super duper fun. Sounds like my monkey is waking up. He wakes up when he wants to. He sleeps forever. Okay. So give me like a hot minute and I got y'all. We gonna get to the planets. We gonna get to the planets. We gonna get to the planets. What I'm doing right now is trying to get my other platform set up because this is the part where I am. That's why I do that. All right. Yeah. So the sun is in Gemini energy and it's also in the 10th house. So the sun is like your outer self, right? This is our outer self, our outer peace, y'all. Thank you for joining in. Your outer self, your outer personality, all those things like that. It's sitting in this Gemini energy, which is all about like being multitude points of view, multiple streams of income, multiple streams of thought, definitely dealing with communication and logic and intellect and things like that. And then it's sitting in the 10th house. Our 10th house deals is our midheaven house, and that is our house of success. Okay. Tapping into the sun Gemini energy, tapping into this energy of communicating, learning, taking the time to read, taking the time out to learn how to communicate with other people with patience and things like that. Taking the time to learn how to communicate with yourself, with the God in you, because we spoke about that when we went over Gemini season. We spoke about tapping into you and the God in you. Otherwise, this season will be hell for you. If you do not align yourself, this season will be hell. The fact that the sun is in the 10th house, those inklings that you've been feeling, saying that, your skills aren't being used, or this job or this activity or this business is just not for you, definitely listen to that. The sun is in the 10th house. Listening to this energy and going with the flow of this energy this season will bring you success. And that started on May 20th. On June the 15th, the sun will be entering the 11th house. The 11th house deals with humanity, humanitarian pursuits. So at first we're tapped into the 10th house energy, which is about being successful and achieving things. And then we're taking that success and those achievements and moving it into the house of, okay, how are we going to give this to others? How are we utilizing this energy to give back? How are we helping people with this? And then, of course, on June 20th, we tap into the sun being in Cancer in the 11th house. And which is a beautiful combination, because we know Cancer energy is the moon energy, is a feminine energy. It's also about nurturing and creating nurturing spaces, and also an energy of intuition, tapping into your psychic energy. So to have the sun and the Cancer energy and in the 11th house energy, whatever you do during this time is definitely going to assist you, allow it to assist you in creating those nurturing spaces that need to be created, as we tap into that June energy. Which also, I like to make a lot of parallels once you guys get to know me. As above, so is below, right? We have a lot of people that are creating summer programs for our children right now. So definitely tapping into that Cancer energy ahead of time. Thank you guys. Much light, yes. Now we're gonna go into Mercury. Mercury is our decision-making mind. It's how we communicate, how we teach, how we learn. That's the Mercurian energy, and Mercury is sitting in its neighbor Gemini. We know Gemini is ruled by Mercury, so for Mercury to be in Gemini energy is pretty dope. So we have that double whammy. You guys may have been feeling like a strong feeling to sit back and learn something new, learn new things, read a new book, expand your horizons and your thoughts on things, create a new stream of income, do away with an old stream of income that you may have thought was going to be right. Gemini energy is definitely going to configure you in that way. Again, this energy is also in the 10th house. So tapping into this energy is going to bring you success. And we've been in Mercury Gemini energy since May 4th. And we are also in retrograde. Essentially what retrograde is, it's the appearance from where we are that energy is moving in reversal. And what it does to us on an energetic sense is it unravels some things. It makes you take a few steps back. And the effect that has on you depends on where you already are in your journey. If you're still fighting the energies about you, if you still don't have knowledge of the energies about you, during this time, you're going to feel very anxious. You're going to feel very anxious and very nervous. We know Mercury rules the gut, your gut health. So if you're not taking care of your gut during this time, as far as like transforming your diet, as we're coming out of that winter diet energy, if you're still keeping those winter habits into this season, I'm telling you, hell will be created within. Um, and what the retrograde pretty does is makes you backtrack. Like, okay, you've been doing these things, you've been doing these things, you've been reading these things and learning these things and communicating this way. Let's take a few steps back so that we can move forward in a little bit different. That's what it does. Now, if you're not tapped in, you're going to be going crazy. You're going to be like, all of them flares. Yeah. If you're not tapped in, you're gonna be going crazy. You're gonna be like, why is this going on? Why am I going through this again? Why is this happening again? Why do I have to relearn this? Why is this information coming back to me again? Like, you're gonna be fighting it. So all my fixed signs that are definitely tapped into being fixed, you're definitely gonna be backtracking. Don't fight it, let it go. It's a reason why you're coming back into that karmic experience again. Let it ride. Going into Venus. Venus is about love and finances. Honestly, Venus is about self-esteem. Venus is about how you feel about yourself. If you are an earthling, Venus is about love and finances, because that's what you have been conditioned to believe that your self-esteem is rooted in. What's your job title? How much money do you make? What do you own? What do you wear? What do you smell like? All the things that make you feel good about yourself, all those things that make you judge people as far as how you think they make feel about themselves. Like, ooh, you wearing that? You must don't like yourself. Or, oh, she got that on. She must love herself. Or, oh, you got that. Oh, you take care of yourself. That is Venus energy. We have simplified it to love and finances. We have simplified it to earthling love, but it's way deeper than that. It's way, way deeper than that. It's all about just esteem of self. What makes you feel good? What does it look like when you feel good? What does feeling good look like on you? What brings you abundance? What does abundance look like to you? How do you indulge in it? What do you consider abundance? All those things. That is all Venus energy. And we have Venus energy also sitting in Gemini in the 10th house. So we have an alignment with our sun, Mercury, and Venus right now with Gemini in the 10th house. For those of you that are in adaptable energies that are out here, you're probably out here juggling. I want you guys to ground yourself. If you guys are tapped into these three energies a little too much, you're going to feel fickle. You're going to feel indecisive, and it may bring some nervous energy to you. It may bring some like worry type energy to you, and you need some grounding. If you catch this video on Facebook or Instagram, I went over in the beginning the stones, the crystals, and activities that have to your heart during this Gemini season. You can tap into that. But definitely, this is the time to have a brown crystals, black crystals about you, a fluorite as an energy vacuum about you to balance those energies. Because if you're too tapped into it, like I got into all the elements, if you're a fire energy and you're already mutable and you're not grounded, you are going to create flames everywhere you go. You're going to be irritated and you're going to be irritable to others. If you're water, you're going to be out here creating hurricanes if you're not balanced. If you're air, you're going to be out here creating tornadoes if you're not balanced. So definitely balance yourself, ground yourself during this time. But if you are balanced, tap into the multiple streams of points of view. You're going to be tapped into multiple points of view of what self-esteem looks like, what currency looks like, what abundance looks like. And we have been, right? A lot of us are doing away with paper cash. A lot of us are doing away with the numbers on the apps and stuff like that, realizing that all these numbers are the same. A lot of you guys had tapped into the cryptocurrency and starting to realize how fickle that can be as well. Or some of you guys have tapped into it and found out how to make that fickleness work for you. We all have been tapped into changing how we view material things, which Venus also rules, how we view abundance and where our self-esteem lies. A lot of us took pride in being the best employee, and now we take pride in being the best entrepreneur. That is happening. Definitely tapping into that Gemini energy. May 30th, we move into the 11th house. So now we're taking that self-esteem, that love, abundant energy that's sitting in that multitude points of view. Also needing partners because we're tapped into that twin energy. And we're moving it into the 11th house of creating how are we giving back? How are we giving back? A lot of you guys want to give it back in multiple ways. A lot of you guys realize that there was a point of view that you were missing that has been brought to light to you that you feel like you need to start being aware of, paying attention to. If you guys are not tapped into energies and things like that, that point of view that's going to come into your mind during this season is going to trigger you. You're going to be triggered, baby. You're going to be so triggered during this season if you are not tapped in and you're not already arms open. Like arms closed, you can't catch nothing. You can't absorb nothing. Thank you. And yeah, you have to be arms open during the season. Otherwise, you're gonna be upset. You're gonna be so upset. I remember every year because I'm a Virgo. I'm a Virgo, Sun, Moon, Mercury, and Venus. But my Mars is in Gemini. So I would just be like, my stomach would be hurting around this time, not listening. I don't know what's going on. I wake up with crazy anxiety. I don't know what's going on. Just nonsense. But when you tap in, like all this stuff makes sense. You'll pay attention to what energies is being triggered and what energies is being pulled. Find out if you have Gemini energy in your chart and where it's at, because that's the energy that's going to be pulled. That's the energy that's going to feel the biggest. So you might want to pay attention to that one during this time. And June 2nd, Venus will be moving on into Cancer 11th house energy. So all that out here, everywhere, multiple people, multiple points of view, multiple things. And now we have a whole smorgasbord on our table of points of view, knowledge, communication, and things. And we're eating it all up. And now we're going to hone in once our Venus comes into Cancer energy. Because Cancer energy is a little more secluded, a little more isolated. You start to put a little shell of protection over top of the insight, the intuition, and all that beautiful energy on the inside, right? It's and the shell, from one point of view, can look like it's dangerous, malicious, right? But we know that the shell is for protection, for nurturing. We know what the shell is for. So during that time, you find yourself putting a shell of protection over top of the things that boost your self-esteem and make you feel good. So during the season, you're going to gather those things. And around June 2nd, you're going to feel a need to protect those things. You're going to feel a need to find out how to give those things to others in a nurturing sense. Coming into Mars, Mars is your ambition. What motivates you? What do you look like when you're motivated? What pisses you off? What triggers you? What does it look like when you're triggered? How do you carry that? Where are you carrying that in? And we start the season off with Mars and Cancer energy. So a lot of our motivation and our energy is going towards creating nurturing spaces, protecting our nurturing spaces. And we've been doing that. During Taurus season, I went to the march. We've been enduring a lot of historical moments these past couple of weeks, yeah, with Malcolm X's birthday and us commemorating the things that he spoke on, you know, his heart, his energy. And then a week or so before that, we dealt with the historical moment of the bombing in Philadelphia, you know, and it's bringing the conversation. How are we protecting? How have we been protecting? And how will we continue to protect our creations, our nurturing spaces, our spiritual spaces? We can't keep inviting everyone in. Historically, that's what we've been doing wrong. If you get into our temperament and how we were prior to colonization and all those things, we were giving people. We didn't barter. We didn't trade. We didn't have currency. It was, oh, you need some shoes? I make moccasins. Here you go. Oh, I need some potatoes. Can I get them Johns? Yeah, here I go. That's how we operated. We were tribes, and tribes were families that came together, and that was the tribe. And your tribe was over here, and my tribe was over here, and we would have meetups amongst our tribes. That's how we operated. However, we didn't do much to protect it because we didn't realize that we had to protect it. We had been so accustomed. Every now and then some warriors would bump heads, but it was just a fight between the two. It was never, oh, I'm about to, burn down your whole village. It was more so, oh, those two dudes over there fighting. That's crazy. So we're coming back to that. We're coming back to certain realizations. We're coming back to, certain thoughts and things like that. So now we're putting on the table, we were triggered by the fact that these things were destroyed. Our village was destroyed. Our way of life was destroyed. Our spirituality was attempted to be destroyed. Our intellect, all those things have been attempted to be destroyed and still are being attempted to be destroyed in this space, in this moment I speak to you. There's an attempt to destroy. And so now we're coming to, and this is just my perspective. If you guys have another one, please share in the comments. But this is just a parallel that I'm making in the conversations that I'm at, where we're talking to each other of, well, we've created these nurturing spaces. We're triggered at the fact of how they were invaded. So how are we protecting them moving forward? And that's a beautiful conversation to have. There's women, mothers and sisters and goddesses having questions on the forefront on our place in these villages and how we need to, take our throne back and sit in these spaces and places and bring the unity of these villages back. There's conversations among our gods and our men talking about, protecting these things and accumulating and stuff like that. And that's all tapping into Mars, Cancer, 11th energy, because it's giving to all of us, right? On June 7th, Mars moves into the 12th house. So we're moving from our humanitarian pursuits and how we're giving back to others, and we're kind of staying in that energy, all right? The 12th house still deals with how we're giving to others, how we're it's kind of like a wrap it up kind of energy before we get back into the new beginning energy of the first house. So it's kind of like bringing it to a close, reflecting type energy, making sure that what we're doing is in favor of all, bringing in that energy of all is one, also bringing in opportunities, point of views, interactions, and things like that. So we're moving from the 11th house to the 12th, June 7th. June 11th, Mars will be moving into Leo 12th house. So June 11th, Mars will be in Leo energy in the 12th house. Leo energy is, think about fire. What does fire do in a room? Let's talk about fire. Let's talk about a flame. If I walk into a room and I see some candles, it sets the whole mood different, right? Candles take over a room. But if them candles fell on my bed sheets and it was a big flame, that takes over the room in a different way, right? If I walk into a room and I see a fireplace, it takes over the room, right? It just changes the whole vibe. And that's what fire does. It changes the whole feng shui of a space. It brings warmth. But if there's an overabundance of fire, it can destroy, right? That's how you think about fire. It's the energy we bring. You can't put fire into a container too much. It may melt the container you put it in. It may not be safe for it to be in that space. It's not very easy to confine. So with Mars sitting in Leo, it's a lot of like fire energy coming to light. A lot of you might feel yourself being triggered. For all my fire energies out there, be mindful of Mars entering Leo on June 11th. Be mindful if you're at an imbalance with your temper, or even at an imbalance with our passion, which we can be too. And that could be, that could be harmful as well when you become too passionate about things. That could lead to like narcissism or having a one-track mind or being too self-centered, which is a trait that we like to give Leos a lot, because they become so passionate about the things that they're focused on. It does turn into like a self-centered type energy, like, what the hell, man? But that's what it is. So be mindful about that. It could trigger you or it can ignite you, but it could definitely motivate you. And that's starting June 11th. May 14th, Jupiter, which is our planet of luck, wisdom, and justice, I always think of like the good cop type energy when I think of Jupiter. Jupiter is in Pisces in the seventh house and has been since May 14th, which is very interesting because Jupiter and Saturn, for the past couple years or so, they've usually been staying in one zodiac energy for an entire year. And this year, Jupiter and Saturn were at their closest in December 17th, between the 17th and the 19th. Jupiter and Saturn were at their closest in Aquarius sixth house energy. So it's very interesting that Jupiter has already moved into a new zodiac energy, which is Pisces energy already, because it usually takes a whole year for it to move out of a zodiac energy. But that's what happened. Jupiter is in Pisces. So we have this energy of wisdom, luck, and tradition sitting inside of this energy of duality and spirituality. Our And what that is, as I see above and below, a lot of us are getting our wisdom through our spirituality. A lot of us are tapping into our will. A lot of us are tapping into the will of others as we start to read more spiritual books. We start to follow more spiritual people, getting readings and things of that nature. That's you tapping into the will still. It's just into the, you're tapping into the God, into other people. You're starting to meet people that look familiar to you because you see God. That's why you're meeting familiar people. As you tap into the God in you, you'll start to attract that mirror, and those are familiar people to you now. And that's what Jupiter is bringing. It's bringing us this luck and wisdom from tapping into that duality in you, your animal and your spiritual spirit. A lot of us want to tap into our spiritual spirit and do away with our animal spirit and say, oh, we don't need that anymore. That's below us. That's lower self, da, da, da. But understand that you need both. You need both because for every energy, there's an equal opposite energy, Ashe. So for every spiritual energy you do, there's going to be animal spirits around you, doing what they do. And if you're not tapped into your animal spirit, you're not going to be able to match theirs. And that's how we keep ending up at this demise, if you will. We're very spiritual beings. We love to forgive. We love to sing songs and march, and it's beautiful. However, we need to tap into our animal spirit that says sometimes you need to chop some heads off, and you need to put them on a stick and hang them in front of your village to let people know they can't walk in here because we're tapped into our animal spirit. You don't want to fuck with us. Sometimes that has to happen, right? Same thing with my spiritual leaders. A lot of us are learning the hard way that you just can't go out into the world and just start sprinkling spirituality on everybody because some people aren't not tapped in. Some people are going to try to take advantage of your energy. Some people sit in your face and pretend like they're here for you or things like that. And that's not what it is. A lot of us spiritual workers that create products, myself included, we create spiritual pieces and we're not getting love back. Like the money, the dollar is fine, but I gave you guys energy. I want energy. And a lot of us are seeing that because we're not getting the energy back, the prices is about to start going up. Ashe. And that's another thing. You have to be able to tap into your animal spirit to do that. Otherwise, you're going to keep attracting people that are going to take advantage of you. Something that I learned the long way. If you don't have boundaries, you're going to attract people that are comfortable with you not having boundaries. They're not going to stop asking you for things. They're not going to stop taking advantage of you. They're not going to stop walking into your life assuming that you're going to stop everything you're doing and because you're not. You don't have any boundaries. You think that's love and light, and it's not. You have to tap into your animal spirit. You have to protect the God in you. If you don't, nobody is. You're going to attract people that they're not going to care because you don't care. The duality is essential, and wisdom and luck is going to come from that, says Jupiter. And this is all up in the seventh house. And the seventh house is all about balance. Seventh house is the Libra energy, all right? It's about balancing the scales. It's about justice. So yes, it's time to tap into this lower self. It's time to tap into this animal spirit in addition to your higher self. We need both of them. And that comes back to the conversation I said earlier about us learning how to protect our spaces, our nurturing spaces, because that's where we went wrong. We moved around like we didn't have enemies, like we didn't have an equal opposite energy out here somewhere. So let's not do that anymore. Let's tap into this Jupiter energy, guys. Saturn Saturn is in Aquarius in the sixth house still and has been since December 17th. Saturn usually takes about a year before it moves out of the zodiac energy that it's in. Saturn is like how Jupiter is like all about justice. It's kind of like that good cop kind of energy, that good lawyer kind of energy, that one that wants to make a change. Saturn is more so like that RoboCop type energy, like laws, restrictions, justice. Whenever I think of Saturn, I think about the color black, which is why I was begging you guys to stop Black Tuesday. You guys had no idea the spell y'all created on yourselves, saying we're only going to buy black on Tuesdays, Black Tuesdays, because Tuesday is Mars Day, first of all, and Mars is war, and to make that black, you guys did a crazy spell on you guys on yourselves last summer. Let's not do that again. Let's be smarter. We can't do that. Be very mindful of the energy that you invoke. But yes, Saturn is that energy. It's that restrictive energy, is all about restraint. But with a balance, it does create law. It does create structure, infrastructure. It's a great way to create a foundation for things, tapping into the Saturn energy. And right now it's an Aquarius energy. Aquarius energy is rebellious, is socially rebellious. So during this time where Saturn is like, hey, quarantine, separate, put on a mask, 6 foot distance, whatever. Aquarius energy is like, nah, fuck that. We have our own underground area where we have our own events and things like that. We do see Saturn kicking up, especially in the summertime. In the wintertime, we were able to get away with a lot of the things that we were doing because people weren't really watching us. But now in the summertime, it's more out in the open that we are congregating and things like that. We are tapped into this Aquarius energy, this Aquarius sixth house energy. Sixth house is associated with Virgo energy, which is your health, wellness, and your daily routine. So we are tapped in, tapped into this rebellious energy, this social rebellious energy, on that level of we're doing whatever we want on our health and our wellness and our daily routine, aren't we? We're not getting no vaccine. We're not wearing a mask. We started, developing different eating habits and physical habits and working out and all those things like that. So that's definitely tapped into the Aquarius energy in the sixth house. Whereas Saturn is like, no, it's time to quarantine. No, laws are cracking down. No, we're closing down these areas and this, that, and the third. So kudos to you guys for tapping into that Aquarius sixth house energy. Retrograde began with Saturn and its energy on May 23rd. Again, coming back to the retrograde being, retrograde is more so like from a physical standpoint, it's the appearance that Saturn is moving in a reversal motion, but that's not what it is. What's happening is the energy is making you walk back in those same footsteps that you were just walking forward in, because there's a karmic cycle you may have to repeat. There's something that you didn't learn or some information that you missed. And Saturn is all about rules, regulations, restraints, challenges, and fears. So there may be a fear you're still holding on to, you know, and Saturn is backtracking you, saying, hey, we need to backtrack into this space because there's still some things holding you back. There's still some restrictions you got going on around you. There's still some fears you got going on around you. So this retrograde is going to make you step back into those actions, step back into those energies, step back into those karmic relationships and karmic events, so that you can realize where you were holding yourself back up at. You can realize where you were restraining yourself, where you were afraid and things like that, and you can move forward better once the retrograde ends. So yeah, that's very exciting. Good luck on your karmic cycles in this area, because for me, the parallels have a lot to do with COVID, government situations, the IRS, just the love in my life, love. Um, I accept, it's very difficult for me to accept love. So situations like that, you would definitely find yourself coming into karmic cycles and repeating certain things until you get it right. Um, Going into Uranus. Uranus is the progressive energy, okay? So Uranus is that energy that like shakes you until you get it right. Like, all right, man, I'm sick of this bullshit. Like, there's no way you can keep acting like you don't see what I'm talking about. There's no way you can keep sitting here turning a blind eye to things. Like, you have to know. And Uranus is in Taurus energy in the ninth house. Again, Taurus coming back into that self-esteem energy, right? What makes us feel good, that materialistic energy, love, right? Finances and all that. And Uranus is that progressive energy, like, no. And excuse me. And honestly, I feel like Uranus is bringing us back to that village energy I was telling y'all about earlier, where we weren't even bartering once upon a time. Because let me tell you why. First of all, Uranus has been in Taurus since March 5th, 2019, right? That was around the time COVID kind of started taking effect. I don't know what was happening March 5th, 2019, where the laboratory was at, but I worked in healthcare when COVID came out. People in our facility was sick in September. So you do the math how you will. We didn't start getting on lockdown until March 2020. So you do the math how you will. All right. So, but during this time, I'll talk about currency, right? We realized how asinine currency was. We went through this lockdown, realized that the government could have been stopping all the bills that the way we're doing. They were choosing not to. And we could have been getting like stimulus checks and payouts and things like that and assistance. They just were choosing not to. They needed Uranus to get up under their ass before they did something progressive for the people. And even then, so it's still not as progressive as it should be, yeah? Guess what? Uranus still got something for that ass because the stuff is still going on. Jobs are trying to hire people. Them people not going back to them jobs. Why? Because Uranus got up under that ass. Why are you spending 40 plus hours a week to go work for somebody else to pay for things that you shouldn't have, that are detrimental to the environment, detrimental to your body, etc., etc.? That's Uranus getting up under that ass. Now, a lot of you guys can't do away with the thought of not having a currency. God forbid you have to give something to someone and not receive anything in return with your selfish asses. But guess what? Uranus got something for your ass. You thought you was about to go and turn into a new currency because you have the inability to give without receiving? Shame on you. Guess what? All that cryptocurrency stuff you're doing, all that other stuff, watch how easy it rises and falls. Watch how fast it'll crash, just like this regular currency has. And it'll do it a whole lot faster because it's your way. It's still trying to keep this mind frame that you have to walk around with your hands closed and you always have to receive before you give something and stuff like that. We are doing away with this mindset, and Uranus is going to keep putting the fire up under your ass until you realize that the materialistic things you keep fighting for to hold on to and keep is not for you. It's not for us. Is not doing anything for this planet, these animals, our air, our water, our shelter, nothing. It's not benefiting us to have this mindset. And that's all it is a mindset, because it's not real. You make it real. You're making money real. You make the IRS real. You make this government real. You're doing it. You do it every day. And the moment that you stop doing it, it will go away. And until you do that, Uranus is going to keep putting a fire up under that ass. Because this is not a natural way of living. That's why we're not happy. And you're going to stay unhappy. Especially now with Gemini energy. The Gemini energy is going to do something to you until you tap in. I'm telling you. I know it. I know it. And then we're in the Sagittarius energy. And the Sagittarius energy, the Sagittarius house, the ninth house, is all about changing your philosophy, changing your point of view, foreign interaction. For those of you who are realizing that, hey, we need to keep it 100 about who's indigenous and who's an immigrant. We need to keep it 100 about our history and where we came from and how melanated people are not monolithic. We don't have the same story. You can go back a whole bunch of centuries and get to the same story, but let's bring it back a little bit. We don't all have the same exact story a century or two or three. You know what I'm saying? So just keep all that in mind. And if you don't, it's okay, because Uranus got something for that ass. It's going to change things. It's going to keep taking things away from you. Every time you think that you got some currency, every time you think you got that selfish colonist mindset in your mind, that capitalist mindset in your mind, Uranus is going to take it from you, because that ain't for you. That ain't for anybody here. It's going to keep taking it from you. So you keep trying to be a part of this and think you're doing right because you're putting indigenous in front of it. Or, oh no, it's black business. It's indigenous business. It's black capitalism. No, Uranus is going to take that shit from you too. Try again later. Change your mindset and change your heart. This is not how we move people. And that's a message from spirit. That is a message from spirit. I'm telling you. But Uranus has been in this energy since March 5th, 2019. And y'all got a ride coming to y'all because Uranus is staying in this energy until April 26th, 2026. So we ain't done yet. Y'all keep building keep building all that capitalist bullshit. Uranus ain't done with you yet. Not done. And it's not going to be done until you stop. So stop. Just stop. Just stop it. Just cut it out. Cut it out. Do what you got to do to survive to get the fuck out of the matrix and then get out. Otherwise, Uranus is just going to keep taking stuff from you. And I'm human. I'm human. So, well, I'm in a human body. So I have to fight that and understand that some things, some mindsets and stuff like that, I got to give up too. Like, you know, I got to learn how to share and give and understand that some people just don't know how to build. Some people just don't know how to fucking build, but I do. So I got to let that be my gift because everybody don't got that gift. But some people got the gift of patience that I don't have. So they have patience to do other things that I don't have to do. But if I do away with that closed hand mentality of, oh, because I know how to build and I know how to do this and do that, I'm gonna do it for myself and forget what the West y'all doing. If I don't give up that mentality, Uranus is gonna take everything I built too. So I don't separate myself from y'all. It's a journey for all of us, but you gotta walk the journey. Neptune. Neptune is all about your subconscious. Neptune is doing some spicy things. Neptune doing some spicy things. Neptune is all about your subconscious, your dreams, anything beyond the five senses. That's what Neptune is about. Okay, so Neptune is in Pisces energy, which is its home energy. So we got the double subconscious energy, double the psychic energy, double the duality energy, things like that. However, if there is an imbalance in this energy, there comes a risk of gullibility. People using spirituality as a disguise to pander, and all of that is coming out in the open. Yeah, we have these celebrities that have been using spirituality to pander to us. Because while we think that we're sitting here watching these celebrities and watching the government, they're actually watching us. They're trying to learn us so they can learn how to sell to us, how to pander to us, how to give us the reality that keeps them at a certain stance, right? And that's coming out because Neptune is like, no, we unraveling all of that. We getting rid of all that gullibility, all of that hiding in your subconscious, all that stuff is coming out. It's getting to the point now where these people only last for like a month or two. They might get some clout on the internet, and then like a minute later, the tea slips. The tea is coming out on them, right? Because Neptune is like, no, you ain't it either. You ain't it either. So definitely be mindful. And if you're one of those individuals, be mindful because Neptune is coming for you. You can't hide under the guise of spirituality. You can't keep selling to people's dreams and subconscious and things like that. That's not how this works. For those of you who are tapped in and out of balance in this energy, kudos to you. I see a lot of people fighting it, statuses and stuff like that. Oh, this new trend on crystals, this new trend on that, this new trend. Those are people that are fighting the way that's supposed to happen. We're all spirits, so we're all spiritual. So spiritual doesn't look like one thing. Spiritual doesn't look like what you want it to look like. Spirituality doesn't look like what I want it to look like. This is me and my God. This is what me and my God look like. You know, a head is a head, a toe is a toe. You know, my nail doesn't look like my ear. There's beings out here doing what they need to do, and there's beings up here doing what they need to do. I don't need my nail to look like my ear. I don't want my nail to look like the ear. That doesn't make sense. Then my ear wouldn't be able to function. Ashe? As above, so is below. You have to go inward to be able to understand outward. And I look at us as if we're cells. You're a cell. You as a cell, you have your place. Can't nobody be you or do what you do, and nobody should, because that's your place. That's what you do. That's your cell cycle. But you are still just as essential as the cell over here. You know what I mean? And I always tell people, I don't want my kidney cell saying, hey, fuck this kidney. I'm about to go to the liver and chill over there. That's not what I want, or my body will die. But they coexist together. They ain't over here bombing each other. You know what I'm saying? So you got to go inward for the outward experience, Ashe. And that's what Neptune is bringing. It's bringing that duality, that knowledge. I read an excerpt from Neptune Netter earlier, and if you missed it, you can catch it on YouTube or Facebook, where we talked about the seventh sphere being about uniting everything. Everything is a part of the body, right? But the eighth sphere, which is associated with Gemini energy, is about separatism. Okay, and separatism is essential because it reminds you that a nail is a nail, an ear is an ear, and a nose is a nose. They're all cells, but they have their place, and they should be in their place. Ashe? And unfortunately, because of, you know, colonization and capitalism and caste systems and all these things that were created when the Moors were defeated in Spain, we'll get into that history lesson whenever you want to. Because of all those things that occurred, we have utilized separatism in an ill manner, and now it has become our demise. We have overdone the separatism to the point now we're separating even through sexuality and genders, and like we just keep separating and separating and separating, and forgetting that it's still a body here, you know. And we got to come back to the body. We got to come back to sphere 7 a little bit so that we can appreciate sphere 8 differently, because we're not using it right. We're using it in an unhealthy manner. But that's all right, because that's why Neptune is here, to tell y'all and to put to light, you know, what's going on. And that's also a reason why during the commemoration of Malcolm X, it was such a beautiful thing, because what Malcolm X did was is he spoke about, you know, issues for Asiatics in America, but he also created parallels for Asiatics in South America, in the Caribbean, in Africa, in Spain, in Europe, to show that all of this is interconnected and we are all one. You know, it was intentional for history to make it so you don't identify with the tribes that were already in America when the colonists came, or you couldn't identify with the tribes that were already in the Caribbean, in Haiti during the revolution, or in South America during the invasions, or to the Moors when they were driven out of Spain, and the Moors when they were driven out of Ireland, and the Moors when they were driven out of Germany, because we were all up there, you know, the Moors in the Mediterranean, we were all up there. It's intentional that certain vocabulary and sentence structure and everything has been created to create a separation between you and those cultures. That's intentional, because if you don't feel aligned with those cultures, you won't try to continue to protect what they were protecting. You won't try to carry on the stories that they started. You won't realize where the empire for you is. You'll be so out of whack. Neptune, what's that? Neptune is a planet, love. Um, you'll be so out of whack and out of balance. You just don't know. Like, I ain't no Indian. I remember when I was a kid, you weren't allowed to say you had Indian. You had Indian in your family. Don't say stuff like that. You don't say stuff like that. You don't got no Indian in your family. Be quiet. Be quiet. Like, it was intentional to separate us from that Aboriginal, indigenous. But we knew, you know, we knew. But it was intentional to separate it. It was intentional to tell you, oh, you're not Haitian. You're not that. You're not Puerto Rican. You're not these things. We're not those things. Those are not our titles. We're not Haitian. We're not Puerto Rican. We're not Mexican. We're not Indians. We're not none of those things. Those are the labels that were given to us by the colonists to separate us and create confusion. They went to the islands and took people off the islands and moved them here, and took people here and took them to Spain, and they took people from there and moved them to South America. They mixed us up to create confusion, so we couldn't speak to each other, so that we couldn't look at each other and see each other. That was intentional. It's intentional now that we read history books. In the history books, how they're written, we don't see ourselves. It's intentional. It's so that you don't feel like you have roots. They tried to cut us from our roots. But we were here. We were everywhere. We were in America. We were in Central America, South America. Why do you think all the ancient structures look exactly the same? All the art is exactly the same. The Golden Renaissance was around the same time worldwide. Why? Because we were everywhere. We were sailors. We were mathematicians. We were physicians. We were all those things. You mean to tell me we had all that intelligence and we didn't know how to cross the ocean and we didn't have no maps and stuff, but we were ruling a whole country for centuries? No, try again later. That's not what happened. But it's all right because Neptune is here. And Neptune is here to remind you that the people that you thought you were sitting back watching all day are actually watching you, to make sure that the things that they're doing and saying and stuff is still working. But because Neptune is going so hard right now, as it has been since February 4th, 2012, and will continue to go on until January 26th, 2026, uh, you're gonna keep seeing these people that pander and sell to spirituality and stuff come out into the light as they ain't shit. The child trafficking and stuff, the truth about these presidents, the truth about the royal family, the truth about extraterrestrials, the truth about the map we look at ain't even right. Um, all this stuff is coming out, and that's that Neptune energy and that Pisces energy in the eighth house. And the eighth house is what? The house of transformation, the house of powers and secrets. That's that Scorpio house. So yes, Neptune is spicy, y'all. Don't touch Neptune. Don't touch Neptune. Don't try to go against the energy between Neptune and Uranus. All of this stuff that's going on, I'm telling you, if you're not aligned and you don't trust, just sit back and watch. Otherwise, you're just gonna be tapped into that nervous energy of Gemini, and you're gonna be over there popping Pepto Bismols. But I love it. I'm here to watch it burn and blow and light my blunt with the fire. You feel me? Like I'm good off this. But January 22nd, 2021 is when Neptune entered the eighth house. Coincidentally, that's when we got a new president around that time. um when the transformation, when we entered that transformation house, we got a new president. And so with that being said, it's very interesting. I don't watch the news anymore. I am completely disgusted whenever I turn on live television. My stomach hurts. I'm not gonna lie to you, my stomach legit hurts. I'm just like not interested. I despise seeing this man on television. I can't do it. His energy is just so loud to me. It's so loudly disgusting. And so is Kamala's. Like their energy is loudly disgusting to me. And I apologize. Well, I don't apologize. I'm not sorry. If you don't agree, you don't have to agree. It's okay. I'm perfectly fine with conversing with people who don't agree. But I ain't here for it. I'm not here for it. I can see the energy through the screens. Okay. And just ever since he became, president, a lot of things are coming to light. A lot of people thought that, when this man became president, all would be fixed. But then they're starting to put puzzles and pieces together that all these presidents are on the same coin. It's two sides to the same coin. They all work together harmoniously. They sit around a round table and eat dinner together and laugh at the rest of us. They're watching us. They're pandering to us. They're selling to us. All those things. And that's definitely that eighth house energy of power and secrets. And that spiritual energy of Neptune is going to bring all that to light. And it has been. If you're in tune and you've really been watching, I watch news through people who watch news, or sometimes I need to get a washer and dryer so I can stop going to the laundromat. But when I have to go to the laundromat, it's always on fucking TV. But all that is coming to light. This COVID stuff, all this stuff is coming to light. Vaccines and stuff is coming to light. People are starting to be magnetic. It's doing something to our electromagnetic field. It's very weird out here, but it's all coming to light. I just pray, and I pray you guys pray with me that for those of us who do have loved ones that did get the vaccine, that a part of us is wrong, that they're not going to fall somewhere. I always think about the Left Behind films where you walked into a room and all you saw was like a pile of clothes and that's all that was left. My mother got the shot and my grandmother got the shot. And those are two people that I hold near and dear to my heart. And I just pray, and I pray harder and harder and harder every day that this ain't that. You know what I'm saying? I want to be wrong. I want somebody to say it was just a hoax. We just gave y'all sugar water. Like that's what I wanted to be so bad, off the strength that my mother is in that box, in that bubble of people. But it is what it is. Neptune and Pisces gonna bring it out, and it's sitting up in that eighth house of transformation. Pluto, our planet of transformation, our planet of secrets and metaphysical energy and the unknown and all that fun stuff, is in Capricorn energy. Capricorn energy is that authority energy, that structure, that infrastructure, the challenges and fears and all that stuff. So we have this planet of transformation sitting in that planet of law and authority and do exactly what I say and stuff like that. So the transformation is coming, baby. The transformation is coming. And it's sitting in that fifth house, which is the Leo house of children. It's happening to our children. For those of you that have kids, I can't tell my kids what to do. I have learned, my kids humble me very much. They came into this world with strong personalities. Um, they are leaders. They are gods. They came in here with that energy. I didn't have to teach them that. I just had to teach them I had to guide them and everything else, but I don't have to guide them in that part. And, Leo energy is definitely tapped into that child, but not just physical children. It's tapped into the child in you. For those of you who have started like following your path, don't you realize that you're doing everything that you wanted to do when you were a child? The personality that you are now, isn't that the personality that was inhibited in you when you were a child? Like there was no restraints on that. Like, stop acting like that. Don't be so excited. Don't laugh so loud. You're crying too loud, or you're doing too much. You're too feminine. You're too masculine. You're too this. You're too bossy. You're da da da. And we allowed all of those regulations, all that Saturn energy. That was Saturn energy created, putting us in a box, putting us in a narrow tunnel, and we allow that to shape us and mold us into these scary creatures we are now. We scared to do anything. You're scared to take a day off from your work. I be telling people like, hey, I got an event all the way in August. I have a convention all the way in August. I was telling people about this event in November, and people are already telling me about their work week in August. That's how scary we've allowed ourselves to become. You're too scared to tell your boss that you need 3 days off of work in August when it's November. We've become these scary creatures. We're so scared of everything. Everything makes us scared. But as the more we tap into the planets and ourselves and the spirit and God, we're coming back into that child energy. And kids ain't scared of shit. Kids ain't scared. Those are the ones that are jumping off of stuff. And like when you're a child, that's the best time to learn how to play a new sport or do extreme stuff, because and you're not scared. You're fearless, and your body is also not fearless. Like your bones and your muscles are still like molding and grow. They're not scared. They're not like, oh, I can't go that way. I can't go this way. I can't do that. Like your body is fearless. Like and all of us are coming back into that energy. And that is that fifth house energy that Pluto is sitting in. And Pluto is telling us to come back to that child you were. Come back to that fearless, that artistic, that spiritual child, that child that used to talk to imaginary friends, that child that used to talk to yourself, that child that used to say, fuck it, I'm gonna do what I want. I want to jump over here, I'm going to jump over there. I want to paint this painting, I'm going to paint this painting. I want to make jewelry, I'm going to make that jewelry. I'm going to be an artist. I'm going to be spiritual. When I was a kid, I used to write short stories. I used to make jewelry. I used to paint. I wrote music. I wanted to be an artist. I wanted to be an artist. I allowed life to tell me that I needed to have a job. I needed to, and art was not a job. There was no abundance in that. I let life do that to me. When I became a mother, I just got so sucked into what society said a mother should do and be like. I forgot that I can be a mom and still be a child. You know what I mean? I forgot that. Like I can still be an artist. My art is abundant to me. It gives me exactly what I need. I don't have, and that's another thing with these celebrities that's coming out as Neptune and Pisces, and also with Uranus and Taurus teaching us to renew what we deem as self-esteem, renew our materialistic aspirations and accumulations and things. It teaches you to stop aspiring to be like these celebrities and to have what they had. Like, my abundance doesn't look like what a celebrity's abundance will look like, but my abundance is perfect for me. You know what I mean? A lot of us are coming into that space and place as well, and that's essential. And so this Pluto and Capricorn in fifth house is doing just that. It's helping you come back into those karmic relationships, those karmic situations and events. We're doing some shadow work, right? With our restrictions, with our foundation, with our challenges and fears. This Pluto and Capricorn in fifth house in retrograde, because now Pluto's in retrograde. So now we're coming back into those, we're retracing our steps a little bit, going through certain situations and relationships again to tell us, hey, you're still putting restrictions on yourself. You're still scary. You're still not jumping when you're supposed to be jumping. You're still not jumping out that window. And I'll give you a perfect example for myself. I've been wanting to buy land for like 10 years. I finally did it. I tapped into that Taurus season energy. I accumulated the land. I got it. Now I'm scared to live on it. So I'm going to probably be going through karmic relationships that push and pull me to where it's like, you have no choice now. Go do what I told you to do 10 years ago and do it right this time. So those fears and things that you're still holding on to, that's still like, I accumulated everything I needed to accumulate to live this style, but I'm still scared of fully jumping into this lifestyle. That thing right there, that's what this retrograde is going to invoke in you. That little thing that's making you scared of fully diving in. Like, you know the truth, but you're still going to work. And I told y'all earlier that this Gemini season energy is going to pull at you too, because the Gemini season energy is hell. This is hell for you. If you are not living your truth, you will be in hell during this season, because your spirit is going to keep telling you, quit that job, close that business, stop giving this person money, stop tolerating that, stop going to these places. And this is going to keep getting louder and louder. Situations are going to keep getting louder and louder until you have no choice but to listen. That's what's happening. And that's just what it is. And the retrograde began on April 28th. And Pluto always goes into retrograde for about 6 months. So we're dealing with this retrograde until about October. So during the summertime, during the early fall, go and take them leaps. Do your thing. Especially right now, like I told y'all before, we're going to be dealing with a lot of pushback. For those of us who have created spaces for us, we have a lot of underground, meetup places where our vendors come and sell, where our performers come and perform, event spaces. And we know that Capricorn energy, Saturn energy has put a lot of restrictions on how we can socialize. Once again, separating us more and more and more and more. And now separating us to the point of vaccinated and not vaccinated. This is fucking madness. But another form of separation nonetheless. And so with that being said, there's going to be a lot of pushback on the progress we have made during the winter time. Because now we are in the sun. And now they can see us a little bit better. So with that being said, you have to let go of your fears. We all have to let go of our fears, because we know that the pushback is coming. They always get us in the summer. They know summer season is our season because we can't deal with the winter. And if you look historically, if you do your research historically, during the summertime is when the slave catchers will go out and start doing nonsense. It's when the KKK will go outside and start killing people. We had red summers. Everything happens in the summertime for us. So again, coming back to that energy of, we can't be scared, because everything we built in the wintertime, they're going to challenge us this summer. And if you're still holding on to fears and restrictions and all those things, you're not going to make it. Keeping it 100 with you. So just keep that in mind as we go through this Pluto retrograde. We're going to re-experience some things that we thought we conquered. Well, we re-experiencing them because there's still little elements that we're still holding on to out of fear. Let them go. You know what those things are. They came to your head when I said what I said, but you dismissed them and you suppressed them like you always do. Stop it. Moving on. So now we're getting into our energies. Chiron. Chiron is all about overall wellness. This is our nebula or star, what have you. And Chiron is the masculine energy, the Hygeia, which is our feminine energy of healing and wellness. And Chiron is sitting in Aries energy, is sitting in that warrior-like energy. And that's what keeps bringing me back to us creating protection around our sacred spaces and places. We need to create protection around our wellness, right? Aries is also about new beginnings. It's also about taking initiative, all those fun things. So definitely tap into that when it comes to your wellness, taking initiative, having that warrior-like energy of protection. And a lot of us are doing it, whether you're doing it and getting the vaccine or you're doing it and not getting the vaccine, whether you're doing it and wearing a mask or you're not doing it and wearing a mask. We're changing our diet. We're listening to our gut. We're listening to our circadian rhythm. Just all of that is all about tapping into Chiron and taking that Aries energy initiative and being a warrior about it, protecting it, staying firm in it. Like, nah, this is what the fuck I'm doing. If you want to do that over there, respect, but this is the God in me over here, and this is what I know that I need, you know? And this is all in the 8th house. Again, coming back to that Pluto energy of transformation and secrets and things like that. So definitely transforming our overall wellness, right? I love it here. Ceres is all about health, nutrition, agriculture, fertility, how you deal with loss and grief, and how you go about healing when you're dealing with loss and grief. And right now that's in that love, self-esteem energy of Taurus energy. So it's all about feeling good. We're going towards what feels good, right? Listening to our bodies. What makes our body feel good? That's what we're going towards in our health and nutrition. A lot of us are coming back to agriculture. Like I told y'all earlier, I'm trying to get my green thumbs popping, but I've learned that I have to be a teacher. I have to be a student. I can't be a teacher and everything. So I'm going to sit back and be a student and I walk in my life because I want to go in my backyard and eat my food. I don't want to go to a grocery store. I don't want preservatives and parasites and all that stuff sprayed on my food, and then I gotta clean it and all this stuff like that before I can eat it and hope and pray that I got it off. I want a better relationship with the stuff that I put in my body. I want to be able to say, yeah, I seen this since it was a seed. This is my boo right here, and I'm about to eat that shit right now. Like, that's what I want. I'm not saying that that's what you should want, but if that is what you want, let's go for it. Let's tap into the Ceres energy and Taurus energy and do the shit. You know what I'm saying? It's also about dealing with loss and grief. A lot of us lost people these last couple of years with all these illnesses. A lot of us didn't make it because a lot of us wasn't mentally or physically prepared for it. And a lot of us was tapped into the God in us and was. Gratefully, gracefully, me and my family were tapped in. We were already eating healthy and living healthy lives. I honestly believe we already had COVID. It went through the house. But we were already so tapped in. And then my mom started going ham with vitamins. And you know, me, I had already been a stickler for eating and working out with me and my kids. That's all it did was go through the house. Like I said, some people didn't make it. Some people already had other ailments that just couldn't help their body fight what was going on. So, you know, we're healing and we're dealing with that loss and grief, but also learn from it. Don't say, oh, people died, I'm scared. No, learn from it. Well, what happened there? What was going on? They had other things going on, or they were taking certain medications that weakened them in a certain kind of way. We know how to defeat COVID. Wash your motherfucking hands. Put some bleach in your dishwater. This is shit that we've been taught from our grandmothers. These were things that we were already doing. Eat healthy. You should have a green vegetable on your plate. Like, these are things we already know. So, you know, just implement the things you know. That's all. And heal. It's healing. It's not just moving in fear. We can't move in fear from these things. The same thing like when we get into like our past leaders and stuff like that. We lost a lot of leaders these last few years. We lost Dr. Sebi. We lost Nipsey Hussle. We lost MF Doom. We lost Paul Mooney. These were very strong beings. Despite, you know, whatever, these were very strong people. These were people that were very, like, came with a voice, a very big voice, and we lost them. But instead of moving in fear, like, dang, Nipsey got shot, or dang, they got Dr. Sebi. I think they got Dr. Sebi. All these things happen, so I'm scared now. I'm not going to speak up. No. we're going to heal from those. We're going to heal and understand now we got ancestors on the other side. We're going to heal because that wasn't a loss. Okay. That was a gain. That was a gain in energy on a different level, you know? And we're going to move forward from that. And that's how that works. At least in my reality. Y'all do what y'all want to do. I just be trying to relay what spirit would be relaying on me. So let's move on to Palace. Palace is all about your logic and your reasoning and your intellect. And we have Palace sitting in Pisces in the 8th house. So Palace is up here with Neptune and Jupiter. So we have our luck and wisdom, we have our subconscious, and we have our logic and intellect. So we have our logic and our spirit coming together as one in this dual Pisces energy all together, right? And the 8th house again is what? The house of transformation, Ashe. So we have our spirit and our physical mindset together as one, sitting in this dual energy of Pisces. And that's where a lot of our knowledge is coming from right now. And it's beautiful to see. It's beautiful to see ourselves evolving into the spiritual selves and spiritual beings. And this started on May 11th. Juno is about our talents in the arts, wisdom, and defense. Juno is sitting in Sagittarius energy, which is all about adopting new philosophies and mindsets and foreign interaction, right? Being opportunist to a extent. And it's sitting in that 4th house energy, which is that Cancer energy of creating nurturing spaces. So with the things that we're learning, we're creating nurturing spaces. For those of you who joined Moorish temples, that's definitely a way of tapping into Juno, Sagittarius, and the 4th house energy. For those of you who have gone into these temples and seen a need and are fulfilling that need, that is most definitely stepping into that Juno, Sagittarius, 4th house energy. And right now this energy is in retrograde. So for a lot of these temples that are these Moorish American temples, because I am in a temple and there's been some things going on and things said and stuff like that. With that going on, we're going in retrograde in these spaces and places with the church too, churches and stuff like that. We're going in retrograde, right? So we're taking a few steps back in the same direction. It feels like we're going back in history a little bit. Like, what's going on over there? Why are we going through this again? Why are we having these conversations again? You know, these are things that should have been solved like generations ago. These are things you guys should already have answers to. So when I come in here, you guys have answers for me and I can just carry the baton, right? But we're going back through them because there were some things that we missed. And it's our generation's responsibility to fill in those things that we missed and keep them moving. So be mindful of that during this retrograde. Vesta is your passion, and that's in Virgo in the 1st house. So a lot of our passion is coming into servitude when you tap into that Virgo energy, right? And that 1st house energy is all about what you expect of the world and what you think the world expects of you. And right now, a lot of us are tapping into that energy of servitude, of doing for others and wanting others to do back for us in a loving way, in a way that creates creates abundance, right? Because Virgos, they hold the harvest, yeah? Lilith is your triggers. What triggers you? What turns you on? What pisses you off? What is it in other people you don't like, but it's something that you're mirroring in yourself? Okay? And right now, Lilith is in Gemini in the 10th house. So for those of you who are sitting in the Sun, Mercury, Venus of Gemini energy in the 10th house and you are hating it, it's because you need to do some shadow work. You need to do some Lilith work in this Gemini and 10th house. And ask yourself, okay, why am I hating it? What is it about this Gemini energy I don't like in others that I'm also mirroring in myself? For me, it's fickleness. I'm very fickle and indecisive. I don't like when I'm around fickle and indecisive people. That is the energy I have in myself. And I get irritated when I'm in it myself, but I get very irritated when there's people more fickle than me in my space. It irritates me, especially when it comes to my business. When it comes to my pinnacles, I don't play. Sorry, can't. And that's me. Like I'm very into my duality of physical and spiritual. But yes, and Lilith is also in retrograde. So for those of you who are fighting this Gemini 10th house energy and not really ready to tap in or trying to, you will be made to come a few steps back to walk in it again. True node. The true node is your overdeveloped or your underdeveloped traits that you need to adopt, to enhance, tap into in order to be successful in this journey. And right now, where y'all think the Gemini true node is at? I'll give y'all a second to respond. All right, it's in Gemini, the 10th house. It's in Gemini, the 10th house. So again, we have this energy lined up with the Sun, Mercury, Venus, Lilith, and now that you know that if you're at an imbalance with this energy, you're going to be indecisive. You're going to feel heavy anxiety, heavy nervousness. Your gut health is going to be ridiculous because your digestive system is going to be out of whack. This is all from an imbalance, okay? Your circadian rhythm is going to be out of whack because you're going to be dealing with heart palpitations. There is a physical and mental response to that, and you're going to be mentally having palpitations, like just random thoughts all the time, indecisive thoughts, all these different thoughts. They're going to be jumbled instead of you realizing that you're just thinking from multiple points of view for one situation, kind of playing chess in your head. I like to play chess in my head. That's how I do things. That's how I compartmentalize, because I am always thinking about multiple situations at one time. My Mars is in Gemini in the 10th house. So my Mars energy is definitely invoked right now. But yeah, with that being said, like Trino says that if you have an overabundance of energy, that's what you're going to be feeling. If you have an underabundance in this energy, you're going to be out here feeling like a victim. You're going to be out here with the victim mentality, victim energy, feeling like things are just happening to you and why me? And that's not good to have during this time. Go wash your face. Your ascendant energy is in Capricorn in 5th house. Ascendant energy is like the mask you wear for, not a mask, but it's like who you feel like you need to be for society, and who you think a society expects from you and what you expect from society. And right now it's in Capricorn in the 5th house. So a lot of us are giving off that conservative type energy, feeling like some type of structure is, that's what you expect from other people, is structure, and that's what you feel like you need to give off in return. I thought I have a 7-year-old and not a newborn, but sometimes the universe says, "Psych, you still have a newborn." He wakes up when he cries. He cries when he wakes up. But yeah, so a lot of you, in this space and place of your life, you feel like, structure is necessary. Creating that, implementing that is necessary, and it's in that 5th house of that Leo energy of taking charge, that fire energy, king of the jungle, lion type energy. So a lot of us are looking for leaders. I want to let you know that the leader is you. You're going to find that in yourself, and as you find it in yourself, you're going to attract other leaders. It's just what's going to happen. I want y'all to know that there's like over 7 billion people in the world. Out of the 7 billion, maybe like 1,000 of us are aligned, truly aligned. A lot of us are pandering. Maybe I would say like a good million people are pandering, and out of the million, maybe a couple thousand are actually aligned. So keep that in mind when you feel like you're being suffocated by a bunch of people that are doing the same thing that you're doing, because you're probably being suffocated by maybe 100 out of the couple thousand, out of the 7 billion, right? The ascending node will enter Aquarius, which is that social rebellious energy, on May 26th. The ascending node entered the 6th house energy, which is all about health, wellness, and daily routine, on May 24th. Then the 7th house on June 15th. The 7th house is that Libra energy of balance and justice. And then the ascending energy enters Pisces, 7th house, on June 17th, bringing in that nice duality associated with creating balance, fairness, and justice. Our midheaven, which is all about our level of success, how successful we are, things of that nature, the ultimate level of success and aspirations. Midheaven is in Scorpio energy, which is all about transformation. So transformation definitely has to occur, and within all of us, in order for us to tap into this midheaven energy. And it's in the third house energy. Again, tapping into that Gemini energy, multiple points of view and things. And then we enter the 4th house on May 24th, which is that nurturing energy, and Sagittarius energy, which is all about philosophies and creating new points of view and things like that, on June 4th. Where's your Benadryl? Hold on one second, guys. Oh, no moment. Did you wash your face? No. Go brush your teeth. Brush it. There you go. I know. Stop. Did you take two? Okay, so that's the planets. As far as the planetary forecast goes. Now I'm going to get into some celestial events that we got going on. I'm going to explain some of the celestial events, and then we're going to get into the moon calendar, and then we out of here, y'all. This took a long time. I didn't think it was going to take this long, but it is what it is. So we know that it is what it is. So May 20th, the morning visibility of the moon. And you're actually going to start to see the south pole of the moon tipped into view. On May 22nd, the moon and Parima are in conjunction and have minimum angle. With the moon and Parima in conjunction at this time, business worries, domestic disharmony, and divorce and poor health was occurring. Parima is a star in the Virgo constellation. It is associated with the goddess of prophecy in Rome. In Arabic is Zaway al-Awa. It's associated with the left kidney right here. This is a bad time. That was a bad time to marry, travel, sew, plant, or medicine. Can you close that door, Miles? It is also a term for temple or mosque in Arabic, and it's associated with Mercury and Venus energy. So you have like that logic, but also like that tangible energy of love type energy going on. May 23rd, the moon and Spica were in conjunction, and with them in conjunction, that was a time of gain through inventions, success, wealth, and honor. Spica is also another Virgo constellation star. It's the brightest star in that constellation, and also the 15th brightest star in all of the constellations. It is on the ear of grain when you're looking at the Virgo constellation. It's an energy of success, riches, love of art. It brings off the energy of Venus and Mars. So where you have like that self-esteem, love and finance type energy, self-indulging type energy going on, you also have that warrior, like stand your ground, guarded, motivated type energy going on at the same time with this star. In Arabic, it is al-Samek, which is love, cure sick, and help sailors sail. During May 23rd, the Shuba was also opposite of the sun. The Shuba is a star in Scorpio. It's associated with assault and morality. It brings off the energy of Mars and Saturn, which is like heavy, violent, restriction, fear, challenge type energy. It's the energy of shamelessness. And Arabic is Akil al Jabbar, which improves misfortune. Love is you try to see how adorable love is during this time. This star is located at the head of the Scorpion in the Scorpius constellation. During May 23rd, Jupiter was also closest to the sun as it'll be. The activity of the cameleo partalids, which are meteors, began. And they are the shape of a giraffe. They're modern constellations. They're not ancient constellations, but they were once thought that area of the sky was once thought to be a desert of stars, but it's not. There's actually a constellation there now, and it's in the shape of a giraffe. Saturn is stationary before the retrograde on May 23rd, because Saturn is now in retrograde. And the moon and Spica are in minimal angle. May 24th, Graphias was opposite the sun. Graphias is also a part of the Scorpius constellation. And we know the Scorpio constellation deals with violence and death and all that stuff. It's located where the claws are. Another word for the star is a crab. And it brings off the Mars and Saturn energy. May 24th, Graphias. Oh, yeah. The Camelot Podalids reach max activity. That's the meteor shower. And then the moon and Zubin al-Janobi are at minimal angle, and then they become in conjunction. And during this time, it's trouble through the opposite sex, wrongful accusations, disgrace, mental anxiety, and sickness. And Zubin al-Janobi is a part of the Libra constellation. And once upon a time, before the Libra constellation, it was considered a part of the Scorpius constellation. It was a part of the southern claw, but now it's considered the southern scale. And in Arabic is al-Jubana, and this hinders journeys and also marriages. And this is also the time for redemption of captives. May 25th, the meteor shower ends. The moon is the smallest distance from Earth, so the moon was super close on May 25th. May 26th, the moon and Dashuba are conjunction and minimal angle. And then Graphias was at conjunction and minimal angle, again bringing forth that very violent energy. We also dealt with the full moon and the total lunar eclipse, which was at 7:18 in the morning. And then the moon entered in descending node. And then the moon and Aries were in conjunction and at minimal angle, which brings an interest in philosophy, science, and metaphysics. Antares is a red and green stone, so the moon had been giving off like a reddish type vibe, if you've seen. This is the heart of the Scorpius constellation. It gives off the energy of Mars and Jupiter, which is like that warrior initiative type energy, in conjunction and connected with the law, wisdom, and luck energy. This makes natives rash and headstrong. In Arabic is al-Kalb, which brings discord, sedation, and conspiracy. Yeah. On May 28th, the moon and Cos Borealis were in conjunction at minimal angle, which brings idealistic and humane ideas. Cos Borealis is a yellow Sagittarius constellation, so the moon may have been given off a yellowish tint. It Al-Shala, which is all about, which is the Arabic term, and it's about besieging cities and taking over towns, and brings on the energy of ambition, pride, power, business, and justice. The Aquariids, which are the meteors in the Aquarius constellation, they reach the end of their activity. Maximum south declination of the moon. Mercury and Venus are in conjunction and at minimal angle, so we have that logic and self-esteem coming together. Mars and Castor are in conjunction, which brings evil disposition, ups and downs, and it's a good time for travel because Castor is one of the stars of the Gemini twins. That was one of the brothers of the Gemini twins. And Mars is all about taking initiative and being a leader. But Castor is the Gemini mortal twin, and it's associated with Mercury, which is about honor, intellect, and learning. In Arabic is Al-Dira, which is friendship, travel, and medicine. Where was I at? Oh, the moon and Al-Balda are in conjunction and minimal angle. Al-Balda is the, where is it? Is a star in the Sagittarius constellation. It is located at the back of the head of the archer. And it's all about harvest, game, buildings, and travelers. Moving on. Yes. The moon, on May 30th, the moon and Pluto will be at minimal angle and in conjunction. That brings forth the energy of transformation, secrets coming, the pendulum swinging in power in certain areas. Mercury is stationary prior to going into retrograde on May 30th. And Aries, Scorpius is opposite of the sun. So we know Scorpius constellation is like death, destruction, violent death, things like that. And Aries is also opposite of the sun, and we know that is the heart of the Scorpius constellation, which is all about, which brings the energy of being rash and headstrong. May 30th, the moon and Saturn are in conjunction and at a minimal angle. Um, Saturn being that energy of restrictions and fears and challenges. Mars and Pollux have a minimal angle, which brings violent murders, death by suffocation, and drowning or assassination. Vesta is visible. Vesta, we know, is the energy of passion. What's your passion? June 1st, the moon and Deneb Algeti are at conjunction and minimal angle. Deneb Algeti is of the Capricorn constellation. It's located at the tail of the goat and brings happiness. It is also ruling over the blood vessels and nerve connections. It brings the energy of Saturn and Jupiter, which is like that good cop, bad cop energy. And it brings forth the energy of being dignified, pious, and conservative. Um, June 1st, the east side of the moon is visible. Moon and Jupiter are at conjunction and minimal angle, bringing that energy of justice and wisdom and luck. Mars and Pollux are in conjunction, which bring like that energy of like leadership, but also can be violent and rash. Um, June 2nd, the north pole of the moon is visible. June 3rd, the moon and Neptune are in conjunction and carry minimal angles. The moon and Neptune together bring that energy of the subconscious in your dreams and stuff. So pay attention to your dreams on June 3rd. It's a dreamy day for y'all. Pay attention to the God in you, your subconscious on June 3rd. It will be guiding you during that time. June 5th is the morning visibility of Iris. Iris is a nebula. Iris is associated with the goddess who would carry the water from the river of Styx and give the water to those in their dreams who committed crimes. You would die. Or if you drank the water while you were on the stand to give a testimony, if you were lying, you would die.
That's intense. I don't want to go there now.
Yeah, it's very intense. June 6th, Venus and Teja posterior will be in conjunction and at minimal angle, and this enhances materialistic values in the home as well as domestic security. Teja posterior is associated with Mercury and Venus energy. It's in the Gemini constellation at the back foot of one of the twins. It brings force, energy, protection. It rules over the hands, arms, and shoulders. In Arabic, is al haqqa, which is return from a journey. It's also good for health and goodwill. Um, where was I? Oh, and the Iris and the moon are in conjunction. So on June 6th, people that be lying, the truth is gonna come out on June 6th. June 7th, the moon and Uranus are at minimal angle in conjunction. So Uranus bringing forth that Taurus energy. Something's gonna happen in your material wealth and your self-esteem, finances, love, something that's going to be ground shaking for you as the moon and Uranus come together in that area. Juno, which is all about wisdom, is going to be opposite of the sun. The moon is going to be the furthest from the earth, and Juno is going, on June 8th, Juno is going to be at its max brightness. Iris is and Uranus are going to be at an angle. So again, those who have been lying on June 6th, another lie is going to come out, and it's going to be a progressive lie that's going to make you have to make moves a little different. The moon and Pleiades are going to be at minimal angle and in conjunction. Pleiades is all about the seven sisters. It's about how you cope with sorrow. So you're going to be dealing with whatever this lie is coming out. It's going to be a doozy. June 9th, we're going to have the morning visibility of Uranus. So Uranus is going to be super strong. A lot of things are going to come out that are going to push us into progressiveness. Okay.
Every time I close my eyes, it does hurt, and I don't know why.
You go wash your face.
I did.
The moon and Aldebaran on June 9th are going to be at minimal angle and in conjunction. Aldebaran is the brightest star in Taurus constellation. It's actually at the eye of Taurus. It's red in color, so the moon will probably be at a red color on June 9th, and that's why. And it is the energy of honor, intelligence, and courage. It's at the beginning of, it's also around this time, like if anything is in this area, it represents a beginning of a large political undertaking. Whenever the moon was in Aldebaran, it was always like a large like thing, a shift that happens, a political shift that happens. So be mindful of that on June 9th. Um, and also a good time to pursue business. Yeah. June 9th, also, moon goes in ascending mode. Juno becomes closest to the earth, which is our energy of logic, and Mercury becomes furthest from the sun. June 10th, the moon and Mercury are at minimal angle and in conjunction. Um, there's a solar eclipse on June 10th, so get ready. Mercury is the smallest distance from Earth. We will also be dealing with a new moon on June 10th, and Mercury is inferior conjunction between the Earth and the Sun. So we got a nice little trio going on. Iris and Uranus are also going to be in conjunction. So those little lies that came out, the conviction will be on June 10th with Uranus and Iris in conjunction. June 11th, the moon and Teja posterior are in conjunction and a minimal angle. Again, coming back to that Mercury and Gemini energy. The moon and Venus will also be in conjunction and at minimal angle, coming back into that energy of self-esteem. On June 12th, Venus is the smallest distance of the sun. Sundials will show an aligned time. The earth shine will be visible on the moon, and the moon and Castor will be in conjunction, and then the moon and Pollux will be in conjunction. Castor and Pollux are the twins in the Gemini constellation. Just giving you a heads up. So we're dealing with that Mars energy that those two stars bring, which is hubris, violence, and bravery and rashness. Now, with the moon and Pollux in conjunction, there will be a hatred of the vulgar, ill will of woman, violent death, power, pride, wounds, and sickness. On June 13th, the moon and Mars will be in conjunction and at a minimal angle. The moon and Persephone will be in conjunction and minimal angle. I can't talk anymore. Persephone is a star in the Cancer constellation, which is the head of crab, and this rules the right eye. It brings the energy of Mars and the moon, which brings disease, disgrace, adventure, brutality, and spirit of the ancestors. So tap into your spirit of the ancestors on June 13th. June 14th is the earliest sunrise, will be at 5:29 in the morning. June 16th, Neptune is visible in the morning. On the west side of the moon, it will also be visible. On June 18th, Pallas is visible in the morning, and Pallas deals with our I want to say our wisdom, logic and reasoning and intellect. Yeah. June 17th, we'll be having our first quarter moon. June 19th, Venus and Castor will be in conjunction. June 20th, there will be a morning visibility of Taurus. The summer solstice will be at 11:33 p.m. And Jupiter will be stationary before it begins retrograde on June 20th. So we'll be having Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, and Mercury all in retrograde for the summer as usual. And that's fun. So let's get into this moon calendar, and then I'm done with y'all. Thank you guys for sticking with me for 3 hours. That was ridiculous. Not really. It was kind of cool. I'm okay with it. May 20th, we started off in Waxing Gibeah's moon, which is the moon of endings and results, and that's in Virgo energy. May 21st, we were still in Waxing Gibeah's and Libra energy. May 24th, Scorpio energy. May 26th, we enter the full moon, which is the moon of celebration in Scorpio energy and Sagittarius energy. May 27th, we're in Waning Gibeah's moon, which is the moon of retribution in Sagittarius energy. May 29th, we're still in the Waning Gibeah's moon in Capricorn energy. May 31st, we enter Aquarius energy. June 2nd, we enter Pisces energy. June 3rd, we enter our last quarter moon, which is the moon of transition, and that is in Pisces energy. June 4th, we are in our waning crescent moon, which is the moon of cleansing and letting go and nurturing, which is also in our Pisces energy. June 5th, we are in Aries. June 6th, we are in Taurus energy. June 9th, we are in Gemini energy. June 10th, we are in Gemini energy. So June 9th and 10th, we'll have a nice alignment of our Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, and it'll be the Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Lilith, and a true node. They will all be aligned June 9th and 10th. And June 10th, it will be our new moon as well. So June 10th is a beautiful day to tap into this Gemini energy. New moon is the moon of rebirth. June 11th, we are entering our waxing crescent moon, which is the moon of regeneration, and positive changes begin to take form, and that'll be in Cancer energy. June 13th, we'll still be in the waxing crescent moon in Leo energy. June 15th, we will be in Virgo energy. June 17th, we'll be at our first quarter moon, which is the moon of caution. And this is time to take action and get rid of any self doubt we have. And that'll be in the Libra energy about balance. So we'll be doing some balancing stuff. June 19th, Juneteenth, will be in the waxing gibbous moon, which is the moon of endings in Libra energy. And June 20th, we will still be in waxing gibbous moon in the Scorpius energy. So that's what I have for you guys for the planetary forecast. Thank you for tapping and tuning in with me and sticking with me through the whole ride. We have gone over Gemini energy and different religious walk aspects. We have went over the placements of the sun, stars, moons, meteors, nebulas, all of that during Gemini season, as well as the moon phases. I appreciate y'all. Y'all enjoy. If you missed any parts of this video, you can tap into YouTube or Facebook to watch the video, watch certain pieces that you want to be in tap with, letting you know the first hour is all about Gemini season. The second hour is the whole planetary forecast. And the third hour is our celestial events. So thank you so much. You guys have a great one. I love you guys. This is great.